Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Ooh, we've got some real lagginess happening over here. I don't know if you can see it on your end, but on my end, this is looking messy already. This is not a good start. Well, anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time zone you're in. Hello. We are going to be getting started pretty soon. I am thinking, let's see. What am I thinking? I kind of have very head empty vibes today. I am a little frazzled, so we'll see how that treats the art. But anyway, how is everybody doing? Where are you tuning in from today? And I hope you're doing well. If you are joining for the first time, welcome. If you are joining for the fifth time in a row, welcome also. And let's see. So a couple teeny tiny updates. One is we have now got an FAQ in the description of these streams, which is very helpful, hopefully. So if you have any questions, I may have to refer you to the FAQ because they may be answered already down there. So it would be polite if you head over and check that out if you have any questions you think may be common, such as what are you streaming with? What brushes do you use? How do you get into CalArts? Like all of that. The other thing is I've noticed, so as of yesterday? 2 days ago? I don't remember when I last streamed. When I last streamed, some people were drawing along and doing work along the lines of Cheese Fairy, which was really cute, and I loved seeing the stuff that people posted in the Discord channel, and I was like, you know what, let's make this like a thing. So I have made a channel in the Discord, which is, I think it's called like Stream Draws with star emojis. It's in the weekly activities section, and I will have a theme every time, or it's not like a prompt every stream. Today's theme thing is egg dog. Make of that what you will. You can do whatever you want. It could be within that, could be outside of that, I don't know. But if you would like to draw along today and you are feeling uninspired, why not take egg dog and see what you can do with it and post it in Stream Draws. Now, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. For those of you who don't know, I do have a Discord server that is also linked in the description. And we've got a cute little community over there. We can post each other's art and give each other feedback and just have a nice time, you know? So, yeah. Let's see. How are we doing? Can you hear me all right? Is the music volume okay? Is everything okay? Once again, I'm always very nervous every time I start streaming, so yeah. Also, hi Roy. Thank you very much for telling everyone that indeed we are listening to lo-fi beats to chill / relax / study too. Yeah, it's easy copyright free stuff, so wonderful stuff. All right. I would love to draw the egg dog, but I can't message stuff in the channel. I don't know if it's only me, but... Oh, hang on. Let me do that real quick. I may have forgotten to adjust permissions. Give me a second. Oh gosh. When I stream, Discord does not seem to like to work. Edit channel. Permissions. Members. What can members do? Members, you can... Okay, there we go. We can send messages. Send... Okay, here we go. We're fixing things now. We can read message history. Okay. Boom. You should now have permission to post in the egg dog, well, in the stream channel on Discord, and if that's egg dogs, great. Looking forward to it. Anyway, let's get back off of that. Let's make sure that it's all above board and okay. Once I see a reaction to my post in that Stream Draws channel, then I'll know that it's all fixed. So, okay, it's all good? Great, amazing, awesome. Right, let's see. Hey, No Chipmunk says, hey Anya, hi, hello everybody. Okay, we've got Big Chi typing. Okay, and we've got reactions. Brilliant. Good. We know this is working now. Thank goodness. Okay, well, I can quit out of stream drawers for now, and I can transition us on over to drawing mode onto my iPad. So I don't think I'm going to be streaming nearly as long as I have been in the other recent days. One, because I've got other stuff to do today, and well, I mean, I have stuff to do every day, but I have some timed out things to do. Also, I'm feeling pretty tired and inspired, and hopefully that, you know, once we get going, we'll be on the move and it'll be better, but we shall see. These streams are definitely a form of kicking my ass into gear and making sure that I actually get work done. So that's what we're here for. All right, so leaving off from last stream, we spent like 5 hours drawing this one pose. I did tidy it up a little. I made a couple little changes. There is one more change that I'd like to fix, and that is, gosh, I could not make this hand look reasonable. I need to fix it. So Eddie's little baby hand here does not line up with his much bigger hand here. So yes, that will be adjusted. Not on this stream, just because I don't think it's that exciting, but yeah. I've always wondered, how does it feel to talk to yourself on camera? Good question. Weird. It feels very lonely, it feels fake, which is why streaming can be kind of exhausting, where I have all these people watching me and it's really fun and nice, but at the same time, there's this disconnect where I'm just staring at my laptop right now, and I've got like a ring light behind me, and it's silent in my room because I can't hear the music. All of it is just very quiet. But I'm not complaining, it's just different, you know? Right, so I'm gonna have my knee up here because I don't sit normally, I guess. Not today anyway. Let's see. So you may have noticed in the thumbnail of today's video, let me go ahead and explore that real quick. I have a drawing here where I compared myself with a drawing in the same pose of Maya. That's kind of more along the lines of what we're going to be doing today. I'm thinking we're not going to draw Eddie and Maya together so much, just because that really slowed me down, and maybe it's just because I need to get used to each character separately first. But anyway, let's see. So I think I might do a little bit of this, as in having a drawing be based directly off of a photo I've taken. Also, fun fact, I have one phone, and I took pictures with the phone, and I forgot that I could take my phone case off. So here I am holding a packet of tissues pretending to be a phone. Very exciting. Yes, yes, yes. So that's that. So yes, that's what we're going to be doing. And I am hoping... Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's from my previous thumbnail that I still need to update. Where am I working? Gosh, I have so many tabs. But like Procreate tabs. Yeah. Serene Z says, greetings from Algeria. I've really been enjoying drawing along while you stream. Thank you. Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing what everyone's been posting today. Which reminds me, by the way, I think from now on, if we get like a healthy number of submissions in that stream draws place, I will definitely show off the stuff people have been doing at the beginnings of future streams, if that makes sense. So today is Egg Dog, and so next time I will show the egg dogs, and then the time after that I'll show what we were talking about then. King Clara Langa says, I love your earrings. Thank you very much. They are Sergio Bustamante. I have a matching ring and necklace. Unfortunately, I have lost the necklace though. It's somewhere back home in the UK, I imagine. My ring I'm not wearing because it clacks around too much when I touch on the iPad surface, but it's all matching and I love it very much. I love faces, hands, eyes, ears, all of it. I really want earrings. Just like ears in my ears, you know? I got a pretty interesting question. What are your 3 favorite CalArts animations? Oh goodness me, that is tricky. But I'm thinking, well, one of the very first ones I watched was, actually let's bring it here, Seth Boyden's An Object at Rest, which is, I think, from 2015, and is about a rock that just wants to nap, but through the passage of time doesn't seem to be allowed to nap very much. You need to watch that because it's a great one. What other films? I remember back when I was first looking into CalArts, another one of the first ones I watched that really hit me hard was, oh, what's it called? I think it's called Will, W-I-L-L. And I mean, yeah, that one really made me cry. God, there's so many phenomenal ones, especially in recent years, as in peers that I've seen. Let's see, Alex Avagnian, something like that. Gosh, I'm so terrible at pronouncing names, but a lot of the films that he's made really blew me away. There's one from this past year by Raina Buxton that is online called Operago, and I think the animation on that one is phenomenal. There's just so many films that I can't think off the top of my head which ones truly have been the ones to hit me the hardest, but there's definitely been a lot that have special places in my heart. You know, I should make a list sometime. I think that's what I should do. At some point I will. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna hide this drawing that we did last time, but I am gonna return this reference document because methinks that I'm just gonna do some basic sketches. Actually, you know what? Let me duplicate this real quick. And I'm gonna hide Eddie for a second in this version because, whoops, I'm gonna draw just Maya for a little bit, and so I don't want to take up too much space on my canvas with both of them being here. Okay, alright. Greetings from Bulgaria. Did you ever consider applying to other animation colleges like Sheridan, or were you set on CalArts from the start? I was set on CalArts right from the beginning, mostly because of the list of alumni that went there, but also the proximity to the rest of the industry. Being in LA seemed really interesting at the time. I don't know how I feel about that now, but yeah. I never really felt particularly attached to the work of other schools nearly as much as I did to CalArts, and so there was just a lot of smaller factors that made CalArts trump the others anyway. But again, I didn't even do that much research into places like Sheridan or SVA or SCAD and anywhere in the UK. I don't think I even remotely looked at anywhere in the UK. I was like, you know what, going to America. Also, wow, my allergies are acting up today. I took some allergy medicine, which I hate doing because I don't like feeling so drowsy, but here I am. So if you see me needing to run off and blow my nose a million times, I'm so sorry. Or just sneezing a bunch. Okay, I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna take a look at some of these really cringy photos that I took the other day. I think we whizzed through them briefly. Which one are we gonna start with? Also, Micah Johnson asks, do you suffer from imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you deal with it? Oh, I definitely do. It's funny because I think I flip-flop between being kind of egotistical and arrogant and thinking I'm better than others and feeling absolutely terrible about myself. But when I say better than others, I think that's the way I'm perceived anyway. Me specifically, I don't think I'm better than anybody else. You know, we're racing our own races. We're not trying to compete with each other. So yeah, but I think a lot of people just assume that I'm super confident all the time. Oh, I'm definitely not. So in terms of dealing with it, I think the best thing is to just remember to focus on your past self, being, you know, improving upon your past self, as opposed to finding some arbitrary standard that you think you should belong to. Because especially if you're getting work and stuff, if people are interested in what you do, they are interested in what you do, they find value in your work. they're not just being polite and pretending to like your stuff, you know, like that's a big commitment if someone is trying to hire you. So you have to trust other people's opinions, you know. All right, okay, let's see. I'm gonna try. Let's try. I don't know. I don't really like any of these. I kind of want to give. All the ones where I'm wearing this greenish cardigan, by the way, are what's it called? Of Maya. All the ones where I'm wearing this brown outfit are of me pretending to be Eddie. So start with Maya. I think we're gonna try this. We've got the dog napping in the background of this image. Let's see. I'm just gonna really crappily cut this out so it doesn't take up so much space. By the way, I don't normally super closely follow reference, but I figured that today we can do so I can show you my general thought process. And I normally don't necessarily have it on the canvas with me. I might use it as a reference image using like the reference thing that they have here, this thing. But just for the sake of ease, I'm gonna have a direct comparison. Someone asked if I watched the recent Better Call Saul episode. No, I haven't. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited to though, but I'm holding off for now. Actually, I'm gonna shrink this down. Holding off for now because I like having like 2 to 3 episodes to watch at a time. So I'll wait till next week and just hope that I don't get spoiled in the meantime. Do you know any character animation students who transferred from another uni into CalArts? Oh yeah, plenty. A bunch of people. But the thing you have to note is at this school, you, at least in my program, you have to start from scratch. Like you cannot transfer into being a second year, third year, and so forth. You have to start as a first year, even if you did a very similar program somewhere else, just because the nature of the CalArts character animation program is so chronological. BCS stands for Better Call Saul, by the way, for those who are curious. Alright, we're going to make a new folder here, which is going to be... Wait, no, we're going to name this Sketches. And I'm going to have this be sketch number 1. Okay, I'm going to turn down the opacity ever so slightly on this. I'm going to make this a multiply layer. Yeah, I swear to God, no one spoil Better Call Saul, please. Please. Okay, so. Cool, ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna readjust. I'm gonna get into drawing mode. Oh, puppy! Hello, puppy. Did I just tickle your tail? Didn't realize you were that close to me. Okay. So, first of all, we want to get that line of action going. And when I say that, I mean, where is the flow of energy being directed in this pose? And so it's kind of this very upright, it's not quite vertical upright, but it's like this energy is definitely going in an upwards direction, and it's very like straight and tight. And so that's something I want to make sure we maintain in my sketch. And the shoulders brought forward, the face is very focused, looking out. Everything is kind of tight in itself, but it's like it's very straight and energized. Whereas if it was something really carved in and like hunched over tight, then it wouldn't feel as energetic. So yeah, we've got like big, strong, swoopy angles like that, and we've also got like the knees are together, and like I said, the head's pointing a certain way. So I'm gonna, let's see. Actually, you know what? Is this gonna mess everything up if I rotate? Whoa! Yeah, okay, cool. I feel like drawing this way today. Also, I've got some major hiccups. What on earth is happening? Sorry. Okay, so we have my reference of Maya at the side, and we have my reference of the pose closer by. Got eyelashes on my iPad. And so we compare those to say, look, okay, we've got like a complete side view of Maya. I'm just tracing very base level because I can. Zoop, do 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 do. Cool. Gonna send that over here. Gonna make it big. Gonna make it around the right size in comparison to my head. It's a little bigger than my head, but that's because the proportions of Maya, like her head is gigantic compared to her body, compared to an average human. So yeah, I'm gonna duplicate that just so I don't have to bother renaming the file, but I'm gonna send this away for this version. I'm gonna make sure that her head is ever so slightly tilted upwards, because her chin is so receding and so also recessed. It kind of almost looks like she's looking down as her default, and so I just want to have her look up a little bit more than usual. And I'm gonna turn that down too. Cool. And then we go in, I don't know, her eyes are going to be wide, but we don't need to worry about that so much right now. We're just gonna have the basic blocking once again. Cool. I'm gonna adjust where the hair is for this. And then the other thing is, you can see the neck has to follow that flow, right? So I'm gonna keep the neck in a different direction. Shoulders are sort of coming forward, her back. You can see her sleeve gets in the way quite a lot, but that's why in my turnarounds I have these underlayers where you can very faintly see what's happening underneath the arm in this case. So she doesn't have a completely straight back. She does have like a bit of a bump to mark out her butt / like her dress coming out versus her cardigan coming in, and so I want to maintain a little bit of that, but most importantly we need to get the flow, so we'll figure out the little tiny details after that. And then she's got quite a small chest, something like that. And in terms of where her butt is, it's sort of here, in line with the proportions I've got here, as in on me. But her torso is tiny, so we're going to adjust that in a moment. But first I just want to get those legs in. So she's kind of got this. So this angle here is going up a little, this one is more flat, so the legs are coming together more clearly. And so I need to kind of keep that in mind without it looking too awkward, because I still want to preserve, what have I got here as my eraser? Whoops, okay, because I still want to preserve, what am I trying to say, like some level of dimensionality and perspective. So yeah. Something like that. Okay, those legs are too long. We'll fix with the liquify tool. Because her butt's so far back. Like if you look at her proportions here, her hip is around here, and then her leg, actually no, it could be a touch longer. What am I doing? Something like that. I'm gonna try and draw the full body, but in terms of what's appearing in my film, this full body pose will not appear because she's sitting in a car. So, you know, the car rest is like here, her seat is here, but then the actual edge of the car is like here. But it's nice to have a full body pose at the side to reference, to make sure that everything still feels like it makes sense, even when I'm only drawing like half of this pose in the finished film. So yes, okay. All right, let's fix the torso. Hang on, you know what, let me just draw where I think the torso should end. Her shoulder is here, but her torso is a little lower. It's slightly longer than her hip region. So we're gonna have to, oh, we're chopping a bunch off. Ready? Boom. But I want the pose to read really nicely. That is the most important thing. So I can mess with the proportions just a teeny tiny bit. So I am gonna lengthen it a little. So this gap shouldn't really be here, but I think, actually, no, screw it. We can shrink it, but we're gonna have to adjust the angle of the legs a little more to be like that. Make sure that energy is maintained. I think we can probably shrink down the chest, make it higher, somewhere like that. And then, I don't know how I feel about my arm being like this. It's kind of blockading the entire pose. It's ruining the flow a little, and I've got it pressed up against my side, so it's not very shapely. And for her, it's going to be even more extreme because of the giant puffy sleeves that she has. But I'm going to worry about that in a moment. First, let me get the most important key aspects of this pose in, and that is... oh, hang on. Got to make a change real quick. And that is the other hand, because she's answering the phone, and that is a core part of the plot. I'm just moving this back ever so slightly so that her neck is aligned correctly. Like so that it is here as opposed to kind of attached way at the back of her head. I mean at her back, because her whole back. I mean, her neck is skinnier than an average human, right? So normally your back flows nicely into your neck, but because her neck is skinnier, I have to take a little bit from the front and a little bit from the back. So it kind of is a bit more of a bump, almost. Not quite, but anyway. So that's that. I'm gonna just add another layer just for simplicity's sake. We're almost completely sideways to her right now. So the shoulder circle that I've drawn for the front shoulder is gonna be more or less same placement for the back shoulder. And her forearm is, it sort of is reaching the length of the midway section, what's it called, of her waist. So let's have that be similar. And then, hang on, I want to rotate that down a little. And then I want to have other forearm, which is a little longer, to come up. Actually, I might end up rotating it back. We shall see. And then her wrist is going to be tilted back as if she's holding her phone, so like that. So her thumb would be like here, and then fingers, something like that. Doesn't matter too much because you can't see it. And then her phone will be sort of like this angle. I don't like these angles though, so I'm gonna rejig this. Now this is rotated, lines up around here, and the whole thing is rotated a little more. How's that looking? I think that could work. We'll see when we get into like a slightly cleaner sketch, but I think we'll get into cleaner sketches after we do several different poses, which essentially is just giving me a bit of a break so that I can mentally reshift my focus and look at it with a fresh set of eyes. What else have we got to do? Okay, so it got cropped off in the photo, but we do have the legs coming down. In terms of proportions here, I'm shrinking them all over again. Sorry, I'm being so fickle with how long these legs are. But, whoops. Okay, so knees here. But the bottom half of the leg, I've forgotten the terminology for everything right now. Like, I keep calling this the top half of the arm and the top half of the leg, and then these are the forearms. But what's... oh, whatever. You get what I'm talking about. But anyway, this part is a little bit longer than the top half of the leg, so that is something we keep in mind. The other thing, angle-wise, is her feet are going to be turned in ever so slightly. So that is something we're going to keep in mind too. Something along those lines. I'm kind of drawing a fake ground plane almost, where I imagine the ground is a little bit like that right now for where her feet are. And so I have that, but then she's got these big old chunky shoes, so they come round and in like that. Something along those lines, methinks. Close enough. Okay, finally, we have our other arm. I'm gonna add one more layer. Also, I'm gonna hide this real quick. We don't need that anymore. And this arm, I'm gonna put it in its current pose just for now, but what is it? But we might make changes afterwards. Tsubasa Animation says, we're already used to terms like the foot zone here on Mapity. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to get used to my fantastic terminology because I can't seem to think of words on a good day. Yay. Right, perspective-wise, her arm is shifting into being between her legs, and then her thumb is like poking out a little. I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of looks dodgy. It's a bit strange. We might just leave her hand between her legs like that. We shall see. I'm gonna add in the sleeve though, real quick, to see how that looks. So the sleeve sort of ends there, and her sleeve is pretty gigantic. Actually needs to be even further down, like that. Something along these lines. And now I'm gonna have to figure out if that'll enhance or hinder the overall pose, because now it's totally taken over the thinnest part of her waist. It's gotten rid of that like elegantness. So the other options would be things like having her hand up here, or like placed further back, or something like that. But we have to keep in mind the hard surfaces that she's interacting with. So the chair, she can't have her arm further back than where the back of the chair is, and so forth. You've noticed that every group in this film is color-coded, like the elderly agree, and is there a specific reason for that? Yes, so I have talked about this in a couple of the streams, and that is the story is a series of 3 vignettes. So there's every group is a different story entirely. They don't interact with each other, and so it's just a little way to separate them out like that. But also, I think it's just nice to visually have it feel like different stories, but with the color grading that I choose and the style and the theme, it'll all feel unified, but it still has a mild anthology feel to it. So the colors are to separate them from each other, if that makes sense. Yes, but to still keep them feeling harmonized. What are your suggestions on how to practice anatomy? Oh, anatomy is something I need to work on right now, but it's definitely doing something along the lines of what I'm doing today, but with more detailed work. Like this, you cannot really see much anatomy. I think one of the biggest things though is understanding what happens underneath what's on the surface, aka studying the skeleton, and then after that, muscles. So always begin with understanding the skeleton. Like once you get a good idea of the mechanics underneath everything, then it's going to be much easier to place all the meat and details and stuff on top afterwards. So keep that in mind. Okay. So she's got a giant sleeve on her other arm too. And so her sleeve ends up being something like this in terms of the skinny portion. And then I should probably do some research in terms of how the cloth, being so puffy, how it behaves when it bends, because the puffy part, hang on, wait, can you see me? Let me just move some stuff around real quick. Okay, so the puffy part ends halfway down her forearm-ish, meaning that you've got like a whole bit of puffy bulk here and underneath that can get impacted when bent. So I'm just gonna have to find a way to make that feel right. which is not, I don't think, what I'm currently doing. I think it makes sense with such a sharp turn for the fabric to be like a little bit caught up on the elbow, but not quite fully stretched out. It's too big for that, but it's definitely feeling a little more tight. And then maybe something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Goodness me. Why is character design so hard, and why am I doing it live again? Yeah, I can't tell if people are complaining or happy that I'm being so consistent with streaming at the minute, but here we are. Now I'm just building out the expression a little more. So there's her nose. There's a slightly agape mouth because she's kind of in shock, which makes me bring her chin down a tiny bit more. Then here's her ear. I think what I do with the ear, you can't really see it so well in the smaller, what's it called? In the smaller turnaround, but the way I've been drawing ears recently is like a sort of 2 straight lines to the top of the ear and then kind of a swoop at the bottom. The swoop is different depending on the characters, and sometimes it's almost like another set of straight lines, but in general that's the vague shape I go for. And then it's like this weird, almost like a backwards 5 that I've got on the inside of the ear. I made hers too small. It needs to be like that. Yeah, there you go. And then I want to make these lines make more sense. So something like that. And now I still feel like the pose isn't as intense as I want it to be. So I want to... Oop, why is it doing that? Okay. I'm just going to liquefy tool it. Just in random little places. Well, not random, but just little tiny bits here and there to try and better this pose. Oh, whoops, I didn't get rid of my ground plane lines. Now they're in the way. Woohoo. Bye-bye. Cool. Something like that. So that is our first drawing of the day. Now I can delete my reference image because it doesn't matter anymore. After this point, we've gotten the vague piece down, and we have to then prioritize, rather than like anatomical accuracy, the feel of the pose. That is what's important at this point. The proportions are pretty close to what they should be for the character. The pose is breathing pretty nicely in this sketch, but we need to boost it in our secondary sketch, which is also where I might have to make changes to the placement of the arms and so forth. I also may have made the puffiness a little too big, actually. Possibly. We shall see. But in the meantime, I'm going to squish that together. That is sketch number 1. And we'll move on to sketch number 2. And as you can probably see, this is a lot faster than yesterday, where we spent like 2.5 hours or even 3 hours just doing the sketch for one pose. 2 characters but one pose. So today we spent, looks like about 25 minutes. Okay, I'm going to add another photo. Let's try out a different angle just to be more interesting. How about, you know what, this is the pose I did yesterday for the thumbnail, and I'm gonna just copy and paste it over, but I'm gonna draw the rest of the pose just because I actually think I did a really good job getting it to feel the way I wanted it to in that thumbnail. So let's go collect her, shall we? Yeah, you guys are getting a little bit of insight into how I make my thumbnails. Okay, this one is not a blurry one, or is it? Yeah, it's not a blurry one. So we can copy that. We can go back here. And we can paste. Cool. Ew. Bro, the dog farted and it smells so eggy now. Nice. Thank you, puppy. Really love that for me. We can do something like that. I'm just going to keep myself as a reference for the sake of you guys, so you can kind of see how I referenced it out. I adjusted a few things. So for example, the angle at which Maya's head is like turned and facing. And I also kind of changed the space for where the knees and things are, because her torso is so short, but we will expand upon that momentarily. Oh, whoops. This is going to be named 02 because it looks like my reference image stole the number 02. Okay. So just as like a building up from the, what's it called, from the back. Her shoulder is here, her neck is like coming out quite dramatically. Bro, can you stop farting? Sorry, the dog is like sitting underneath and is quite voluminous. Also, whoa. So yesterday, out of nowhere, my stream was like, my face cam was like 3:4 ratio for some reason. Haven't made any changes, and now it's back to being regular ratio. Or aspect ratio, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway. Also, yes, it takes me a really long time to notice basic things like that. Then, again, referencing, hang on, let's hide this for a second. Referencing the size of her torso. The top half is probably here, meaning her, what's it called? Meaning her hips is like here. So she's, again, got a really short torso, and that is making this pose a little tricky to read, but that is okay, we can make it work. Actually looks like I lengthened her arm a bit too much, so I'm gonna shrink that up a touch. Da 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 da. I see some tangents that want to form over here, but don't you worry, I will fix them. Something like that. Okay, let's go back into sketch mode. So now we have, let's see, like the butt is kind of like here, and her legs kind of come out to here, something like that. And then now they're coming down. I want to say like that. That looks so messy because of all the shapey thingies I'm doing. So let me just lower the opacity of that. We can hide this now. I'm going to draw this again, but more simplified. There goes the dog. Okay, well, at least if you're farting now, you're farting further away from me. So it'll have dissipated by the time it makes its way over, huh? And then I need the feet to come in. Hang on. I need to figure out where the feet go. Because her shoes are so chunky, I don't want to accidentally like have them clipping through each other. So I think actually I need to redo where the legs are a little bit. I think they need to be facing further away from each other, just a touch. So that way, oh wait, hang on, let's just take a look at something. Her legs are even longer than that. They're like this. That's her ankles. Something along those lines. I just saw Luna said, wait, I saw a brain. yeah, so I'm getting some very slow responses on the other end of things, but keep an eye out for merch. I'll say that much for now. You guys spying on my stuff when I zoom out, huh? When I go into my gallery? Is that cheating? Is that you trying to sneak some secret info? I don't blame you. I think that's kind of built into us nowadays, huh? That does not look right. This ankle just looks broken. I think angle-wise, we should just not bother with the turning in thing so much. The main focus is to get it feeling like it's actually attached to the foot. So, yeah. Hang on, wait, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to fix it. I'm just gonna redraw it. Something like that. It needs to be further down, like this. Sure, that's good enough for now. Actually, it's not good enough. Because my thinking is, how gigantic is this chair? Like, as in, how are her feet able to be placed here? I imagine the edge of the chair would be where her heels are and that her feet kind of tilt down past the ground plane a little bit, but that's still a gigantic chair. So I'm gonna have to fib some of this. We'll have to shorten her legs. Again, we can play with proportions a little bit, so long as it doesn't feel completely off. That's the fun of animation. We're allowed to break the rules a little bit. You just have to be aware of what you're doing, so yeah. So cool to catch your stream. I love your art. Thank you, Sticky. Yeah, I've been streaming quite a lot lately because it holds me accountable. Okay, now one more thing with this set of sketches. Liquify tool! I want to build a bit more of a flow into this pose, so I am just curving things over, which I know is kind of destroyed, like her poor foot looks messed up now. But again, when I get into the next round of cleaning up, I'll be able to make these tweaks to make sure everything still feels right. But now there's like, whoops, there's a bit more of a flow, like this versus this. That being said, I do want to tweak her face to be back to what it was, because this is a little too much for me. Like that. Cool. Yeah, that's good enough. I'm gonna have the elbow swoop be higher up here. Something like that. Maybe there's like a tiny gap here. No. Okay, alright, that's another pose done. Number 2. Let's get drawing number 3. I like the look of this one. Just cropping off. Cool, new pose unlocked. Gosh, it really looks like I have an intense hunchback. Let's see. Number 3. What am I doing here? Once again, we can trace because it's faster and unnecessary to be a purist about it. We're trying to get things done. That's our goal. How we get things done, so long as it's legal, any way counts. Bigger, tilting down. And she's actually going to be like a slightly looking away, kind of. So we'll keep that in mind too. For now, her shoulders are quite far forward, but her neck is even further forward. And then her back is like really hunched forward. Again, she has a very short torso, so all of this curvature that we see on this side is not going to be demonstrated nearly as much, but we still want that same flow. So let's keep that in mind. So her butt is going to be swooped underneath her, like to here, and then her chin is like here. Actually, it's more like that angle. Something like that. And then leggies. Something like that. Cool. Here's again where we have the big chunky shoes being a problem. We love a hardworking queen who poses for her own drawings. Yeah, well hey, no one else is going to be doing it, are they? So it's got to be me. I think it's fun though. Very cheesy. I was doing it at 3 a.m. like 2-3 days ago. I like the idea of sort of the neck flowing, kind of being a little bit too dramatic for reality, but we're not working in reality here. We're working alongside it, but not in it. Alright, call me mad. Hello. Thank you for stopping by. Love to put this stream on and work on my town paper while you draw. Doubles my productivity. You and me both. What am I getting email notifications about? Okay, cool. This doesn't feel right. You know what I do have though? Hang on. Let me just switch to face cam real quick so I can do some things on my computer. Cool. I'm just going to open Storyboard Pro real quick because we actually drew this pose already very loosely on my first stream, which was when I was doing some storyboards, and this is from the opening scene of Maya and Eddie in the car outside a supermarket. Storyboard Pro takes a while to load, so bear with me. Okay, FiREWORKS V5. It's not actually version 5, it's version 1, but for some reason every time I was trying to save it, it would like version itself up or something. I have some weird setting, I guess. I don't know. Okay, we can tune back in. This is gonna be... oh cool. Alright, we can transition it to be Storyboard Pro Mode. If you haven't seen any of my storyboards yet, you're seeing them now. They're extremely bare bones. I'm missing a whole bunch of chunks. But here you go, sneak preview. Bunch of scenes with 0 characters in them. Yay! A bunch of scenes that are badly drawn. A bunch of scenes with no characters. A bunch of scenes we can barely see what's going on. We're moving and we're moving and we're moving and we're flying. Look at that, we're taking to the skies. Sorry, I should probably have done this off camera, but I guess now you're getting a very speedy sneak preview of what's going on once again. I say once again, that depends on if you tuned in or not previously. Okay. Cool, here's the Maya Eddie scene. So this is what we worked on. Oh, whoops. Okay, now it's gonna... oh, it's doing it automatically. I've clicked too far ahead. Ah. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. So, we've got Eddie coming in, And then here, this is the pose that we're currently working on. And she kind of shifts a little bit from things not being right. She's upset. I'm just trying to see, because this pose I think felt really nice. I think we might bring her shoulders up more than what I have in my real life reference. I'll show you that in a moment. But, because that I think reads much more strongly. That being said, the angle of her arms, I think the way I've drawn them in the storyboard tangents with the car, I remember mentioning that, and isn't necessarily ideal, and kind of has a phone not quite in like where I want the audience to be seeing it. I want it to be a tiny bit higher up so it's more solidly in that thirds and in the center, so we can adjust the angle to more closely match the reference that I've taken. But we can just scoot by. Oh, Eddie checking in on her. This is more aligned with the previous pose we did. Let me just check, right? Kind of, but she's not answering the phone. It's for a different scene, but similar angle. She's looking down, being all sad, and then Eddie's like answering his phone panically. I've taken reference images of this moment too for him, so we might end up drawing some of that today if we do get around to drawing any Eddie. And then he's like reassuring, blah blah blah. Let's see. Yeah. Diving in, getting his drinks. And then that's as far as I got. And then the car very gracefully moves away. Amazing. Alright, okay. We can minimize out of that and come back to this. Let's move off of here. Okay. And I'm gonna switch to art mode, which is a slightly differently arranged thing. There we go. Cool. So, the changes are suggested. Shoulder higher up. But then the angle, I think, I guess we won't be able to preserve any of this spacing here, any of that negative space because of her sleeves being so puffy. So we can, not worry about that now and just bring her arms wherever they need to be. Skinny part of her is like here. This still doesn't quite feel right to me. Maybe like that. Okay, that's better. Again, it's not quite accurate to the actual angles that are happening over here. Oh, why is this still on top? But yeah, it's fine. And then the shoes. Actually, I kind of want them to be more like that sort of angle. I don't know, I'll figure that out later. And she's here with her phone, and then her hands are kind of, her paddles, her palms are about as long as her fingers, just a tiny bit shorter, unlike Eddie who has very short palms. And then I want her thumb to be kind of visible because she does have some action with it later. Let's stick it out differently. It needs to stick out like that. And then the other arm is also in view. We haven't got the spacing here, but because she's so skinny compared to a real human, we do see her wrist and so forth. So I'm just gonna bring that in. And then, what am I holding here? Oh, I'm holding a TV remote to pretend to be a phone this time around. This is gonna be an actual phone though. Cool. I'm trying to think if her cardigan would be sticking out at all, but I guess it wouldn't be because it's pressed up against the back of the chair, so we just have it separately here, like that. Cool. And then I'm gonna just clean up and erase some stuff in this area real quick, because I want to make sure that the exact placement of her chin feels right. So we have that, and then I'm gonna just adjust where this where this head is, like that. Cool. Her eyes are a little more closed than when they're like default open like this. And she needs to be looking at her phone. Actually, they can be even more closed. Like that. That's cute. She doesn't need to be so sad looking just yet. She can be... It's more almost like wistful looking. Does that make any sense? Maybe I'm misusing the term wistful. Who knows? Da da da. Something like that. And then her hair kind of is bunched up a little bit because of the shoulder being in the way. It doesn't fall over the shoulder, her hair isn't that long, but it does kind of push it and contort it ever so slightly to be kind of slightly different angle. It'll be more like this as opposed to what I have it in the tracing. Yeah, no, actually that's fine. In terms of the hair curly thing, it's like flopped forward, so it's dripping? It's kind of dragging down a tiny bit more than in the tracing, like that. Okay, so we've got that figured out, but I want to see where her actual like chest and neck and so forth is. So I think her neck is like here, her torso is like here, and then her hips are here. What else have we got to figure out? I think her other shoe needs to be liquefied, like that. Again, I know that her legs are shorter than they're supposed to be, but we've got to make some sacrifices sometimes for stylistic strength. Ooh, I just got a notification that someone subscribed to me. That's cool. Can I ask a question? Of course. You don't need to ask if you can ask a question, because by asking, can I ask a question, you're already asking a question. So just ask the actual question, and that's gonna help you out. Poor Matt saying it's looking great so far. Thank you. Adele, first time catching the stream. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like my art. Hello everyone. Hi Mepti, love the music. Oh, thank you Animated. Thank you for stopping by again. Excited. Okay, wait, I've got like quite a few things. As a fellow artist, my camera is also just as much of photos of me in different poses. Oh boy, yeah, like my camera roll on my phone is a whole entire disaster. It's just a bunch of screenshots and weird poses of me and like pictures of dog and countryside. That's like it. I'm curious if you have similar brushes in your animation software. One of my biggest problems is trying to match up the ones I use in my drawing and animation software. Yeah, that's a concern that I have, and it's not something I've actually looked into yet at all. Meaning I'm really hoping to be able to find something similar for this animation, but if I can't find something, I am okay with finding a compromise. But also, in Harmony you can make your own brushes, and so what I could do is try and wrangle the mechanics of the ink bleed brush in Procreate and make it more like, what's it called? Make it more like that in Harmony. But because I think there's different properties being adjusted depending on which software you're using, so I might not be able to make it one-to-one accurate, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Alright, hi, just popping in, but love what you've got so far. Thank you so much, Emmy. I really appreciate it. I'm very happy with how this is going so far. This is going a lot more smoothly than it was the other day, for sure. It's a lot faster anyway. Actually, yeah, I'm happy with this drawing. Okay, next drawing. Dude, we are on a bit of a roll. We've been going for an hour and we have 3 drawings. Okay, right. Okay, we've got a bit of a tricky one, and that is it's a scene where she is leaning over the edge of the door of the convertible. The window's down because it's a convertible, and she's like looking out, and we don't need most of the rest of her pose, but it's something along the bottom, and I've taken several images. Okay, so what I actually did is I took videos of me in all these different poses and I would adjust slightly, and then I took screenshots of my favorite frames. So I quite like several of these. We're gonna do some investigation. We're gonna see which feels the most suitable. Let's not scroll too far down. Yeah, these are all kind of in competition with each other. I think a lot of this particular shot is going to be down to the composition of the frame as a whole. So we might actually try something a little bit different with this pose, and that is to blow it up full size and see how it looks yeah, as a full composition, and then I'll pick, and then we'll get into the sketches. But I do have 3 favorites, which are these 3. They all kind of read similarly, but have slightly different vibes going on. Look at that high level tracing. Cool. Then we've got this one. And yes, I was using a box as reference for myself. I just get creative, you know? You have to work with what you've got sometimes. And then... looks like I remember this. My sleeve got caught on the cardboard, or like tape or something, and I was very confused when I got off the cardboard box and the cardboard box came with me. Anyway. Alright. I'm just gonna spread these out so that you can see them all. You know what, let's shrink them for a second. This is the hard part. Like, you know, I can figure it out whilst actually sketching Maya too, sure. So, also, I was like, I don't know what my hair is doing in any of these. We've got option 1, option 2, and option 3. How about that? So for option 1, it just feels very central. It's feeling a little... it's like too balanced, but in the boring type of way. Also, wow, we have 137 viewers right now. Hello, everybody. That's I think that's a record so far. So thank you for stopping by. Hi. Yeah, so it's a little bit too central. The framing of this shot. Let me just work over the top of this for a second. Is we're gonna have Maya is here, and her eyeballs are looking off to the side, and the focus is her looking ahead because we are driving, and so she's looking out like at the road ahead of her. But she's not actually focusing on the road, she's kind of staring into space, but it's just this general flow of moving forward. That is what is being represented here in this shot. And so a standard like little storyboarding tip is you often, if you have a character looking in a certain direction and they're looking at something off screen, it's like a good idea to give them a little bit of space between where they are and what they're looking at. The framing can feel a little bit cramped and awkward if they are looking at something off screen, but they're already so close to the edge of the screen. That can be very effective for certain shots, but that's often, those are very specific types of shots if something is off screen, especially. You can have it, for example, like maybe someone is like in a closet and the edge of the wall is there, or it could be, I don't know, that something is closing in on them over here. But in a general sense, give people a little bit of space in the framing. And so anyway, let's just scrap all of this. By having pose 1, the elbow, the elbow here is kind of creating a bit too much space on the other side. So let's scrap 1. In terms of 2 and 3 is kind of similar in how it's like not so dynamic, but we could definitely easily adjust the elbow to feel a little bit more like to the side. My face is squished and it's half covered by the, what's it called? It's half covered by my arm and my hand, which I think is cute. But I do have that happening already in several moments in the film with Maya. And with that action, it's usually when she is interacting with Eddie, where she's kind of tucking into herself and trying, almost as if she's trying to disappear, if that makes any sense. And so that's a little bit different than when she's just by herself. In this scene, Eddie is focusing on driving and she is in her own little world. She doesn't need to hide from the outside world because she's not there. She's in her own world. So I don't think her being so tucked in on herself is necessarily applicable in this scene. So that brings us on to, finally, image number 2. She's almost looking a little bit helpful because she's like looking upwards. So I think we can find a combo of the angle of the face in 2 paired with more so the angles in 1 and 3, but the overall structure can definitely be more in line with number 2. Anyway, that is very long-winded, and oh la la, I forgot I did all this. Let's just erase. Let's go back until we have no numbers. Cool. So I'm gonna combine these two into one layer because I'm using the heads as reference a little bit. Yeah, I don't need to turn the opacity down. And then we have the actual pose here. And I do want to have more of her body showing. I don't know if I'll do a full legs for this. We don't need to for sure, but I kind of do want to try it out. I think it might be interesting, just to give it a go, you know? So let's give that a go. Hang on, I'm going to group these and I'm going to duplicate because they're quite big now, which is useful, but I think we can actually shrink them down so that the rest of my reference is still visible. Ugh, my space is so cluttered. Cool. So this is going to be sketch number 4. I think we can do 5 of Maya, 5 of Eddie, and see where we're at by the end of that. I reckon it's going to be an hour and a half in total for each, so it'll be a 3-hour stream. I think that sounds about right. We shall see. And then I can do one more stream of cleaning up all of these sketches, possibly tomorrow, maybe. And then maybe storyboarding on, like, I don't know, a different day of the week. Okay, So Maya's head is once again bigger than mine, and we are not referencing this head, we're referencing a combo of these two. So I think angle wise it's more like kind of ear is here, her face gets really tucked in because it's so slopey. Oh, this is going to be really hard. This doesn't look anything like her just yet. I know that, don't worry. She's got her sad eyes. Her eyes are way more downturned than anyone else's in the film. And then her nose is like super slopey down too. Oh, this looks really off. Screw it, let's start again. It's so difficult, oh my goodness. What is your favorite art or artist, or what is your favorite game to play? My favorite artists, well, in terms of who inspired me to pursue like the career that I have today, it's a combo of Alex Hirsch, or like the creators of Gravity Falls, and Jamie Hewlett, the artist of Gorillas. What is my favorite game to play? I don't really play games. Like if you're talking about video games, I used to be obsessed with Among Us for a while. Of course, classic. But these days it's more so that I watch people do playthroughs, or no game at all. Okay, so the hand, here is the paddle, here is the thumb, here is finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, because my characters have 4 fingers in this film. Here's the other shoulder, which is where it's being placed. What's it called? Which, you know what, let's adjust this to be like that. Cool. And then the other hand is kind of disappeared and then re-emerges up here. Like that. So I think that we have to actually really shorten this arm for it to make sense. I think her paddle is around here, so I think her sleeve ends around there, meaning this part of the sleeve is about here. Her elbow is about here. The end of her sleeve thing on the other arm is about here because there's some more actually no, it's even closer. There's more foreshortening. Okay, that feels about right. Then this needs to be more tucked in because she's got such sloped shoulders. She's got very narrow shoulders, they're not very broad. While at school, do you have to have a job to sustain yourself? I don't have to because I took a year off of school last year, and so I got paid to work for Netflix and Hornet and things. So I have some residual money from that and from when I worked for Lego in 2020. Basically, from the time I was not in school, I made enough money to just about pay the rent and get by, but now I am running thin again and I'm trying to save, so I am taking on more work. I do have multiple jobs at school, so I'm a TA, which is a teaching assistant, or I will be a teaching assistant. I'm student treasurer and I am on the student union, so those are all, you know, they don't pay me very much at all, but there's something. And I can do it in tandem with like my education. And also things like my Patreon, that is really important for me to keep myself going. So right now that kind of covers like a week's worth of food per month-ish. I'd like it to eventually get a little bit more than that at some point. You know, it would be nice to have like a comfortable passive income. And the other form of income that I hope to be establishing, I was meant to have established it months ago, but we're all being slow on everyone's end, but is merch. And I don't want like cheesy like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. I want stickers and prints to start, and then like more interesting things, but I have to get a store off the ground first. I'll also have like digital downloads people can buy, or like a tip jar where people can donate to, little things like that. So I do have to work to a degree to maintain myself whilst at school, but it's not like a full-time job. I'm very fortunate where I don't have to like get a job at Starbucks or like being a waitress or something like that yet. I might have to get there anyway, but we shall see. Anyway, yeah, so that's the college lifestyle, is trying to figure out how you're paying next month's rent. What's your opinion of Brittany Myers? Do you think she's got that good in such a short time because she drew non-stop, or because she was gifted from the start? I know of Brittany Myers, but I don't know much about her stuff. Isn't it like that very cutesy kind of Disney 2D illustrative Pretty Girls drawings, right? I don't know, it's been years since I've seen her stuff. And isn't she like younger than me? It's definitely a lot of drawing non-stop. It's definitely a lot of like working on like growing up whilst on the internet, and so having all the resources to hand right from a young age. Have I tried commissions? I did briefly, cannot stand it. I have very much struggled with motivation, even on my own projects that I care about, and working on commissions was just kind of like the worst. I would cry most of the time, because even if I thought the concept was interesting or whatever, it just, I don't know, there's something about it that was extremely difficult for me. So I hope to avoid, I really hope to avoid having to do commissions unless I'm in a really bad spot. And I'm fortunate enough that I have that as a choice to a degree. You know, some people, I know that like a lot of artists are very dependent on doing commissions, but I am not, and I hope never to be. I hope this isn't too intrusive, but why are you continuing CalArts when you're already working in the industry? Your art seems really professional, surely you already have a lot of connections. Because this is one of the only times in my life where I will be able to just do the projects I want. Like this film. You know, once you're in the industry, you have a full-time job, oftentimes, and what's it called? And you just don't have time to work on personal projects, or you just don't have enough time to get anything done in a productive manner, at least. I'm trying to figure out how to draw her hair right now, because the hair is blowing in the wind. Let's start that over again. The other thing is, a lot of my classmates, they have like high-end jobs in the industry too, often like during the summers and so forth, but getting fully into the industry is very hard, and you know, a lot of it is freelance work. Like all the work I've done is contract-based freelance stuff. I have not had like a salaried job. Those are very rare, or like multi-year contracts, extremely rare in the animation industry, and so you just cannot rely on that. Like I could get a job, but it would last maybe a third of what would be the equivalent of my time at CalArts. And so the other thing is, if you have time to keep meeting more people and keep working on your own personal projects, is you can really fine-tune exactly what it is that your creative voice is and what you want to work on. And so then that means that once it's time to fully step into the industry permanently, that you have a higher chance of working on what you actually want to work on, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna avoid the hair for just a moment. Gonna go back to trying to focus on the face. The face is looking a lot stronger this time. I say that I haven't drawn any of it yet, but proportionally it's looking better. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and find some reference. Did I delete it from here earlier? I did. Let's go collect Maya's face. Copy all. And paste. I don't know why I keep saying paste in a weird voice. I seem to have a habit of doing that at the minute. Anyway, so there's that. Her hair thingy at the front is blowing back. So doing that. kind of deal. Ish. Is that centered? Yeah, it is centered, meaning her nose is not. Okay, alright. So this drawing here was kind of in tune with what I was going for beforehand, but here she's really looking up, and it's not necessarily, like, this angle is all wrong, all of it, for what this shot in the film is. Got the right vibes, and it might take inspiration of on like the hair and how I've made that flowy, but yeah, I like the what's it called? Little M-shaped mouth thing though. That's cute. So I'm definitely gonna hold on to that, methinks. And the like extremely sad eyes. Something like that. I don't normally draw eyebrows first, but I guess today I am for some reason. Something like that. Here we go. This is looking way better than that first sketch. Goodness me. I'm getting so tired. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it all the way through to Eddie today. But I said I would, so I guess I will. Need to shrink that down a little. Whatever, again, I'll clean it up when the time comes. Let's see. In terms of her nose, I guess this looks decent. Actually, no, it needs to be longer. Like that. Something along those lines. That doesn't quite feel like her, I think. It's pretty close though. When we get to the cleanup stage, we can figure out what is off about it. So, yeah. Hi Cadence. For CalArts students that have been accepted for the first year, are you all required to reapply whenever you return? I'm assuming you mean like if you got into CalArts for your first year and you end up choosing to not go, then yes, you do have to reapply. If you get into CalArts and you attend any amount of time, like even if it's one semester, then you can defer and you can stay away from the school, but you are still welcome to come back and pick up where you left off. You don't have to reapply ever once you are in the school attending. But if you have never attended a class and you got accepted in your first year, you're gonna have to reapply, which is why my current class is gigantic, because I was a first year, then I took a year off, and now was a second year. In that time, all the students that applied right before the pandemic began, they got their acceptances, but were told, okay, if you want to attend the school, you have to attend now or you're going to have to reapply. So almost everyone that got accepted ended up taking online school for a year. And so we have essentially literally half of my original classmates also took a year off. So our class is like 1.5 times the size that it should be. Yeah, if that makes any sense. All right. Let's see, I've watched a few of her interviews. So Britt said she basically had no life in high school and spent hours a day drawing, studying, etc. And when she wasn't drawing, she was doing it with her mind, if that makes sense. And if you look at her old art, she improved a lot. I don't think anybody has more innate talent than others, just different circumstances. But I do think that some people are naturally more creative and able to think more visually and draw in their head, if that makes sense, as well as have the drive and grind like she did. Yeah, there's definitely, like, I don't fully believe in talent. I think that art is a learned skill, but I do think that there's an innate quality of like how you wield your ideas, what you present, and how you present it. That is something that I think a lot of people have and they don't realize it, but because they never work on the technical skills and the actual art side of stuff, it looks like they're never going to be good at like being an artist. But, you know, you'll often have conversations with non-art friends and they have the most awesome ideas and funny concepts and like look at the world from a perspective that you never would have thought of. And it's like, oh wow, if you put time and effort into learning to draw, you could be doing great in the industry as an ideas person. But not everyone is wanting to do that in their career, so that's fine. Makes our job easier, makes it easier for us to get work, hopefully. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out this hair. Okay, well, I can hide this for now. I'm gonna keep this around just in case. I'm gonna dump it in my reference group. Do I have two sketch? No, never mind. Ignore me. Ignore me. Oh, I forgot that I have this doodle time layer in here. Okay. Let's move these guys away so that we can work on her hair. Okay, I can totally hide this layer now. I can also hide this old hair. So her hair is gonna kind of flowy, you know, got that ripple like a flag does. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like ruffles, but in motion. And so I want there to be a bit of that in her hair, but then I also want to maintain that like this little notch she has in her hair. So that's also sticking around here. And then we blend that into the bottom half of her hair, which is also going to be, oops, nice and flowy. At least I hope so. Maybe less, a little, like to a slightly lesser degree, because the car edge is like here, all right? The car edge is here, the chairs are like here. Well, actually they'd be shorter, they'd be like that. So that's just like a vague angle thing we've got going here. Yeah, her proportions aren't quite accurate to her, and I'm not sure what I've done to do that. It might be that her eyes are just too small. Maybe if I like extend them a little, it'll feel more right. Maybe? Not really. And then her eyebrows, oh, I think it could be that this eyebrow is too short. Oh, that's definitely helped. Like that. Something along those lines. I mean, it reads enough to be her that I'm okay with this. I kind of want to bring everything down just a touch though to emphasize the angle more, like that. Cool. All right. Then finally on this sketch we need to figure out the sleeves. So the sleeves are going to be a little bit tricky because they're puffy, but we're also being impacted by wind in this drawing. So they're gonna have like some ripples and so forth, especially this one that's really sticking out. And so I need to figure out how big these ripples should be, because different fabrics interact differently. So for example, if I was in a car, you know, got some fast flowing air, and I held up a silk scarf, it's going to be like flapping around like crazy. If I held a leather jacket up, it's also going to be taken by the wind, but each individual ripple is going to be much broader because the material is thicker, and I forgot what the terminology is. It's not sheer, but it just like resists less. It resists more. Maybe it is sheer. Guys, you already know, I don't know words, so yeah. Have you ever heard of Kesh? He's an Indian artist online. You and him are my biggest inspirations. I'm currently taking his art course. Do you have an opinion on him? I have not heard of Kesh. I don't actually know very many artists these days online because I don't really watch YouTubers, like art YouTubers. I'm sort of adjacently aware of them, you know. I don't use Instagram anymore, so any knowledge I had is like of who was big on Instagram 2.5, 3 years ago. Even then I barely paid attention, so sorry, I don't really know any artists. Which is interesting because I think a lot of people assume that I know everyone, like, and that I'm trying to, what's it called? Like, oh gosh, what is the word? That I'm trying to network in some major way, but the fact of the matter is the way people network is, it's so varied, you know. A lot of people, especially if they're abroad, when I say abroad, I mean like in reference to Burbank, California, or just wherever the capitals of animation are. If they're away from those places, then online is kind of your main bet. But because I don't have that issue, I'm like local, I can meet a lot of people in person, and I've met people through Discord servers and friends of friends, and a lot of friends of friends. And I'm very grateful for those interactions. So yeah, I don't know many Instagram-y people. Okay, I think these sleeves are looking decent-ish. I have not studied the way that fabric reacts to wind, so then that's why I say decent-ish. I'll have to do more proper studies to figure out if that looks right, but it should be okay for now. I will say with the arm coming down on the fabric, it's kind of pinning part of it in place, so I think there would be like pull lines from where, like anchor points they're kind of called, where the fabric is stationary at those spots. I think that's good, but I remember I wanted to draw the rest of the pose just out of curiosity more than anything, so I'm going to try that. So her shoulders are here and here. She's going to be like turned, obviously, so that she can face the way that she is facing, but her seat is still there. She's still sitting in a car that is kind of perpendicular to her, and so she is going to have to twist her body. Actually, yeah, it's going to be like that more than anything, I think. Actually, once again, I'm making her torso too long. Something more like this. I don't think I'll include this necessarily in the final drawing, I don't know. Maybe her knee can like come up, so it's sort of sitting on her other leg almost. So this leg is down, and then this leg is like that. Hang on, I'm gonna have to make some angle changes. Like this. And then I'm gonna have to shrink the whole thing down because we need more space. We need more space for her leggies. All right. Has anyone got any more questions for me or for the chat? If not, let me think of a question to ask you guys. Last time I asked what your favorite emoji was, and I had some interesting responses. This time around, let's see. Oh, that was an interesting stretch, puppy. You coming to say hi? Hi, puppy. Questions. Would you rather never be able to eat dairy again, any form of dairy, or would you never be able to eat any, what can I compare to dairy? Okay, no, scrap that. Would you never be able to eat any pastry? Or would you never be able to eat any, like, dessert along the lines of, like, ice cream or mousse? Like, liquidier stuff. So no more pastry, which includes savory stuff, and no more moussey things. I have not got hard and fast rules for what qualifies for each group, so this is a really terrible question. But you know, we can debate the nuances of the question in the chat. Do you have any tips on making character silhouettes? Like my first character designing, and like it's like my first time character designing and I'm having trouble. Yes, okay, proportions. Two types of proportions. We have length and size. So you make sure that you have a range of like small, medium, and big shapes, and short, medium, and long shapes, and combine the different shapes that you can, like triangles, squares, circles, and so forth. Although generally it's a good idea to kind of have one primary shape. It could be very loosely incorporated, but you know, it can be like a circle that has sort of square elements or whatever. But yes, if you make sure that, for example, like the head could be super teeny tiny and the shoulders are huge and the legs are really long and the arms are really short, if you push things, push them too far. That is what I suggest. So it's one thing having that range of proportions, but to test to see if they're really like as extreme as they can be and to feel comfortable, you want to take things too far, because then you know where your limit is and you're able to rein it back in. Does that make sense? Rather than like if you're too tame the whole way through, then you're never going to find out if you pushed your shapes enough. Yeah, that's something. Hopefully that helps. So people saying bye to pastries. Pastries don't count for pies. I'd rather eat no more pastries. You prefer ice cream to donuts. Most of you are saying no more pastries. Interesting. No more mousse. I make some pretty bomb and cookies. Yeah, I'm surprised that people are saying bye to pastry, because you have so much more sweet and savory pastries, whereas like ice cream and mousses and like creams and things, great tasty stuff, but I feel like they're a little more limited, and I don't know. I think I would rather give it the mousse stuff. Plus you make amazing homemade ice cream. I refuse to give that up. That sounds incredible. I will say I love ice cream a lot, like a whole lot, but I guess if one's got to go, I think pastry is going to sustain me more, you know? Okay, let's see what's happening with this girl and her pose. I don't know where the ground is in this pose, which I should know. That's something I should keep in mind, but I have not. So here I am, flailing awkwardly. But I think this will be okay for now. Actually, no, it won't be okay. The angles are incorrect. This needs to be straightened down. This is why it's always good to have reference, because then you don't end up being stuck around for ages trying to come up with something from scratch. So yeah. You know what? I don't even need to know any of this. All that matters is this pose up here. So I think I'm just gonna leave it, actually. Am I gonna leave it? I almost feel like I'm abandoning this for no reason. I also just realized in all of the drawings I've done so far, I forgot to like incorporate where her skirt ends, like where her dress finishes off. Okay, well, I'll keep these two grouped, but I will hide this part. Cool. Means we can say goodbye to these guys. And then rename this group 04. Right, number 5. I think final Maya sketch for now. And then we can do like poses that are totally outside of, what's it called? Outside of what's in the film, if we want to another time. But she doesn't actually stand at any point in this film. She's always sitting. She doesn't move. So I guess I just never need to have her legs really on show, which is interesting because I've like really designed the whole, like, I feel like her dress works really nicely as she stands, and I have now actually figured out how it works when she sits, but whatever. Final pose. Let's get my photos up again. They're all quite similar to each other, I'm aware. Once again, it's because she's sitting for most of them, and is also, how would I describe it? And it's also, like, the camera is often always to the same side of her, so we don't really see the other side of her face very much. I'm trying to think what I have in my film. What do I have in my thumbnails? You know what, I'm gonna bring up my thumbnails. I'm gonna head on over to Facecam again, Bushcam, and transition. You know, my makeup looks pretty even today. I should probably buy concealer though, because, not concealer, color corrector, because it looks like I have a 5 o'clock shadow all the time, which I don't, because I don't have that much hair on my face. Actually I do, but not that consistent. It's like over here. Yeah, fun fact, I guess I have, is it hirsutism? Hysterism? Whatever that thing is. It's like excessive hair growth, and so sometimes I get like random collections of hair. Anyway, that's TMI. Thumbnails, where are you? I have way too many Finder windows open right now. Goodness gracious me, Anya, why are you so disorganized? And none of them are laid out correctly. Okay, we're gonna clean up by name. I love that. Cool. What is the dog doing? We're gonna go into thumbnails 01 and open the PDF. Is he scratching or something? Interesting. I'm not sure what's going on in the back, but okay, that is too far in the film. Okay. Alright, I will head back to... we'll go into this mode for now. So these are the thumbnails that I'm looking at, and I'm just trying to keep in mind what I've got. Gosh, spoiler time. Sorry. So yesterday, I keep saying yesterday. I can't remember if I streamed yesterday or 2 days ago. Like, I genuinely have no sense of time anymore. But am I able to zoom in? Please, thank you. Yesterday, we drew this. Hang on. I wanted to just show the evolution from, let's cancel this for a second. I'm gonna bring that drawing up. I think the angle does need to change, so I may have to redo this drawing a couple more times, but this is my thumbnail that I drew back in like January. And then this sketch here is a much more cleaned up version. What do you think? What do you think? It was 2 days ago. Okay, my stream was 2 days ago. Thank you very much. Anyway, that's not what I'm looking for now. Right now, I'm looking to see what other poses we can have. Honestly, I'd buy thumbnail stickers. Yeah, there's one thumbnail that is on this page, but I don't want to show it just because it's like too spoilery. In fact, actually, if you're reading the lyrics, if you're reading the words, it's a bit like, I'm kind of giving away the plot in this section of the script. But, what was I gonna say? Yeah, my thumbnails are horrendous. but I love them. I am not, like, when I say horrendous, I'm not being all pitiful boohoo. I'm saying that these are so bad and I am very proud of them. So, yeah. Thumbnails are very useful and they can just nail the core of what you want. Like, this is so terribly drawn, but you can like see that she is distraught, and then this is like this beat of anticipation and stress and confusion, and then this is her being like, oh my goodness, I am elated, I'm so happy, I can finally so and so and so. And then like she's talking off to the side and Eddie's looking at her and then she's shocked. Or like this one, she's like, she looks like she's about to melt, but she's so happy. Oh, we drew this pose. Let's just bring that one up real quick. Diddly-dee, diddly-doo. That was the first pose we did today. Here we go. But then she'll end up having a happy face afterwards. So it's always fun seeing the evolution. How does Maya feel towards the guy? I don't remember his name. Eddie. She looks like she seems so shy or uncomfortable. She does. She loves him very much, but she's so completely overwhelmed by other things going on in this story, in this film, that she's kind of being almost like neglectful of him. And so there's a conflict between them where he's trying really hard to not get up in her personal space, but also wants to be able to comfort her. And that's hard. It's like, and with the context of the film, it's like there's a lot of pressure on this situation. And so yeah, there's like a slight disconnect between the two that kind of is like a little bit heartbreaking. A little bit. I say a little bit because it's not that heartbreaking. Wow, good job in defining basic words, Anya. So anyway, reminder, the reason I'm looking at these thumbnails is I'm debating on what the final pose should be. But with all of these, Maya is so close up that these are more of an expression sheet thing to do, which I'm definitely doing a second round of, what's it called? Definitely doing a second round of expressions for her. Someone said their relationship seems like it'll be toxic. No, not at all. I know they look like a typical pretty white girl and like jock dude, but no, they treat each other well. It's just, you know, everyone has fights, and they haven't even had a fight. There's just tension, and that is a very separate thing. I would categorize them as like the opposite of toxic, actually. But you know, I don't blame you for thinking that. You haven't seen the film. I mean, neither have I, but I have seen it in my head. So yeah. Okay. Well, anyway. I think this could be a good expression where she's like shouting into the phone and it's like hunched over. I have not taken a photo for this one. So this one we're gonna have to improv, which will be fine, I think. So, we'll see. But yes, also look at her amazing hair. Look at her great hairline here. Look at that mouth, look at those eyes. Dude, I'm so good at drawing, clearly. I don't know, it's a real trip seeing the range you have in work as an artist, depending on how much time you have or what the focus is and so forth. Yeah, so never feel too much pressure on yourself when you think your drawings or your sketches are rough, because this is like literally thumbnail sized, this drawing, by the way. And I did it straight into pen at 2 a.m. after I had literally 0 hours of sleep within 24 hours. And this is still probably better than some of my good drawings on a good day. So yeah. Anyway, I'm procrastinating. I think I shall... Can I hide this thing? Hide sidebar? Yes, I can! I could have done that sooner. Gonna make it all smaller so that you guys can keep this as a reference too whilst I'm drawing. And then I'm gonna move it down. I don't want to share it anywhere. Down. Mama, hello. Yeah, those are some lines in the script. And then I'm gonna switch back to iPad streaming mode just slightly differently arranged. Boom, there you go, my face has moved like an inch. How does one go about this? Hank asks, when the films are made, is it a competition and are there prizes if so? Not really. It's not supposed to be a competition, but it kind of can become one if you're not careful. And that is, sometimes you're competing against yourself, sometimes you're competing against films from past years, aka the standard that has been set by previous students. For example, you guys I'm sure have all watched tons of CalArts films over time, and those are often the best of the best. And so when that's all you're seeing, you consistently think that that is the average level of work that needs to be produced. And so you're pushing yourself really hard. But in terms of prizes, the closest we have is the Producers Show, which is where a selection of films get screened in front of a bunch of executives and industry people at a theatre in Los Angeles. I managed to get in with one of the team projects I worked on, which is Warm Welcome. Very honored to have done that. So they pick around like 20 to 25 of the best films per year, and of the films that get in, you have I think 3 prizes. One is Vimeo picks a favorite film. We have it's like Walt and Gracie Lance. There's like another prize which I can't remember who selects it. It might be like the teachers all collectively pick their single favorite film, I think. And then you have Peers Pick, which any film is eligible to get into the Producers Show. Often the films that get picked are like too long, otherwise if they don't qualify for being in the Producers Show, whatever. But they don't have big prizes, which I think is good, because I think that ends up misconstruing like what the purpose of these films is. A lot of people, especially in their first year, end up trying to make content that would get into the Producers Show rather than making something authentic to themselves. And sorry, but those people make my eyes roll. Like, that's not productive. That's not gonna get you to where you want to be, because after you finish CalArts, then what? Like, no one else outside of CalArts cares about the Producers Show and like the awards that are won there. People care about the work that represents you. So yeah, that's my message to some of my classmates who assume that the way that you succeed is by getting into the Producers Show. It's not. Sometimes it helps, but it's not the only way. Okay, anyway, I've been procrastinating long enough. We have, seeing as I don't have any reference this time around at all in terms of a photo, I'm either going to be looking at myself in the camera, and I'm also going to be fumbling around a lot more, but that's fine. So her shoulders are like here. Actually, no, this shoulder's up. So this one is also up. And she is holding her arm. Proportion-wise, her elbow is around here. I'm trying to see. Okay, your arm does come up when you are doing that. So here is where her wrist is. Actually, maybe it can be like a little bit shorter, and that's the paddle, aka her palm. Yeah, this is like a bit of a top-down view almost. So, not quite top-down, but it's quite a high angle, so yeah. What do you think, looking back on Warm Welcome, what do you think of it today? Matthias asks. I'm still incredibly proud of it, and I'm incredibly proud of my teammates. I think as a collective we all learned a lot, and though I wasn't too involved in terms of not very much of the work I did ended up being like in the finished product. So for example, I designed the kids in the film Warm Welcome, but I didn't animate them ever. I did the music, so that did appear in the final film. I did a lot of direction and kind of telling other people what to do and producing the ideas. So again, I was responsible for it, but the actual final output was done by somebody else. I did some sketches of some of the rooms. I did some coloring, but I didn't end up doing a brilliant job, so someone fixed it for me. Things like that. So I was definitely very heavily involved. I mean, the core idea of the film was mine, but without everyone else, it wouldn't have existed at all. And so I'm extremely proud of that aspect, because that was the first larger scale project that I'd ever really done that worked like that. And so in terms of team effort, very happy. Would I have changed some angles and stories and stuff? Actually, no. I'm super happy with the film as a whole even now. I don't think that, like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, sometimes you'll look back and you'll remember some confusions you had, or some debating internally of like, should I frame my shot like this or like that? I'm not concerned about any of that film. I really do think it turned out about as good as it could have done. So yeah, looking back, I'm very happy with it. And I'm very happy with the making of video I made too. And I'm definitely going to, when I make the making of video for this film, I'm going to be as informed as I can based on, like, what did I like the most about the editing of the Warm Welcome making of? What can I change about it? So that's more what I'm interested now in. Let's see. Sorry, my dad is sending pictures of baby peacocks, I think. Let's see. What is this? We got a brown baby. Okay, hang on. Let's try not dox myself. But my dad, we have baby peacocks at home, and I am very far away from home. Let me just go into face cam mode real quick, because I love this very much. So I don't know if you can see, but this is a mother peahen. It's sitting in her nest, which is just like a hole in the ground, and then that little tiny thing here is a tiny baby peacock. Yee! It's a brown one. We do have some white ones too. It looks like we have two sets of, is this two sets of mothers? I don't know. Oh wait, he's got more pictures. Whoa! Here you can see the mother is chilling, and the mother is chilling and the baby is out of the egg. Sorry, it's all overexposed, but yeah, okay. All right, I'm getting so distracted. My bad. Back to art mode. Transition. Cool. Okay. This is so hard without a reference image. I want to be able to draw well without reference images, but I'm also not going to be devaluing my ability as an artist just because I can't draw without reference. Like, you think of people like Kim Jung-gi, who is just this like unbelievable mastermind who can draw anything from his imagination. I don't need to be that. It'd be nice, but I don't need to be that. But I also feel kind of like I'm being caught out in the rain right now in terms of what I like, my current abilities. Like, this looks so rough and so mediocre and amateur to me. It doesn't have any flow. Like, I genuinely think that my terrible sketch is better. It has way more energy. So I'm gonna start again. So I'm gonna rough this in, like, unbelievably rough. I don't know what the legs are doing in this case. Something like this, maybe. This is already looking a lot better. Oh, oops, I'm doing the wrong thing. This is a proof to me that really rough sketches where you're not paying attention are almost always better than when you're being slow and deliberate. Because now I have, like, you can see this, I've incorporated a line of action this time around, whereas this previous one looked unbelievably stiff. So yeah, in fact I'm scrapping that last one. It just didn't serve me in any way. And then the most important part is the phone and the arm here. And so this shoulder can come up high and can be holding on. like that. Okay, yeah, that works. I'm gonna now do a slightly cleaned up sketches. So it's slightly cleaned up sketch so that it isn't as chaotic as this one. Rename, layer 5. Any advice for drawing feet? I struggle with them a lot. Let's see. Let's do some quick foot drawing. Do you mean like realistic feet? Because I'm not going to be able to give decent advice on that too much, just because I haven't drawn realistic feet in a while. But in terms of the base of like what a foot is comprised of, I often like to treat it like a wedge, kind of like this, and then like the foot isn't quite square, not my feet anyway. So yeah, that's like a thing. And then in terms of like the shape of a foot, it's like that, right? Got a big toe, smaller toes. So here, the reason that in a footprint you have this gap is because, let's say this is the big toe up here, is because you have this like little, how would I describe it? Like a divot almost, where your foot is arched. And so that's something that is worth keeping in mind. Okay, the other thing is your toes. You have your 5 toes, your big toe, the nail, like the whole thing points up. But then all the other toes, they point down. All right. Also, I think a lot of people make the mistake of making feet too flat, like this, which I think is great. I think it's a fun stylistic choice that I often do. But if you're trying to go for more realism, your foot actually does end up sloping up quite a bit more than you think it would. Also a heel, your heel actually sticks out a little bit more from your feet. Hang on, I'm just going to erase my guidelines because they're not very helpful anymore. This is a terrible drawing, by the way. Do not use this as a base of how I draw feet. This is a very, very loose guide. But yeah, I don't know. I also have like very long toes IRL, and so I feel like I always draw my feet wrong because I'm drawing them based on my own feet. I don't know. Ugh, I hate feet. I hate feet so much. Drawing them as a technical feat, very fun. Ha, pun intended. But drawing feet otherwise, or just looking at real feet, no thanks. No thank you, ever. So yeah, and then you have like your ankle bone region on both sides of your feet. So if you're looking at a foot straight on, you have the ankle kind of sticks out a little more, and then you have, gosh, how would I describe this? That arc shape very, very subtly informs, like these are not symmetrical, if that makes sense. So this is, your other foot is going to be on this side, by the way. Like that, and then your big toe, and then other toes. This is very badly drawn, and then you have your heel. I don't know. Okay, and that's really, really messy. Oh boy. I swear I can draw feet better than that, but I guess not whilst a bunch of people are watching me. 115 to be precise. Okay, let's try this again. Hang on, I turned the opacity down too much. I don't think you guys will be able to see very well. Here we go. So this time around, I'm gonna just try a little more to concentrate on the proportions and so forth. So, head-wise, I don't know. Do I want it to be talking down into a phone like, hello, mama, hello? Or do I want it to be looking up like, hello, mama, hello? She's been looking up so much recently. Like, she's been really happy. And then I think now it's almost like she's trying to block the wind is kind of in here. So I think it makes sense for her to be turning down a little more, but not as glum and in on herself as we have done in past sketches. More like the way that she's been drawn here, I suppose. When I say here, I'm talking, sorry, I just realized I pointed and you guys have no idea what I'm pointing at. I'm talking about the little thumbnail I've got off to the side. So I kind of want almost like her head is tilting up towards the audience, the camera, but it's still facing downwards, which I think is a nice in-between kind of. So yeah. Still want to make sure there's enough hairline up here to feel like she's tilted down. Whatever, I'll deal with the hair later. Is that about right? Yeah. And then her eye expressions. Her expressions? Singular expression. Let's see, is it going to be like this? Nope, it's going to be more concerned. Okay. Animated says, I have some lip syncing to do, so I'll have to catch up later. Thanks again for another great stream. Well, good luck with your lip syncing. I hope you enjoy. Lip syncing is one of my favorite things to work on when it comes to animation. In fact, it's kind of like the only thing I enjoy when it comes to animation, so I hope you have a good time. Alrighty, see you around. Alright, something like that for the eyebrows. Here I am. This is the second pose today where I've drawn the eyebrows first, and that is something I extremely rarely do. Wild. I'm gonna have her there. Her eyebrows look really strong today. They're not supposed to, but there we are. Actually, this needs to all be shorter. My undo button doesn't seem to be cooperating very much. None of my brushes are cooperating. None of my functions, I mean. I think she looks too sad, actually. Let's start again. I'm gonna start with something else, and that is her mouth, because that's gonna kind of inform the size of her head. Like, that is too big, I think. She doesn't ever... She's always reserved throughout the whole of this film. And so I want to make sure that her absolute strongest, biggest moments, which includes this, are still nowhere near as strong and big as some of the other characters. Do I want the teeth showing on the bottom? Probably not. So her eyes are going to be big as well in this, unlike another shots. Kind of like pretty huge. I don't know where I want it to look. I don't want it to be focusing anywhere visually too much. I want it to be more so, it's like she's focusing on the call, so she's not seeing the call. So when she's looking into space, if that makes sense. Okay, this is a little stronger. I think this is more in line with the expression I want. This, however, is going to have to move to be here. Something like that. I don't like the placement of this one, this eyeball. I don't think these eyes are symmetrical enough at all. But that's okay. Maybe she can try looking off to this side. Yeah, that works. It's good enough. Again, for the very loose, rough nature of both of this sketch stage, I think it's fine. Also, yes, reminder to flip the canvas. This is going to look real wonky for sure, but I'm going to just finish off the whole pose first, rather than tediously perfecting each part one at a time. But yes, I'm definitely going to be flipping the canvas, don't you worry. Thank you for the reminder. That's a reminder to all of you as well. Flip your canvases. So, her hair thingy. Yeah, those eyes are probably looking pretty treacherous to you guys. Treacherously bad. But it's okay. I will figure it out momentarily. In the meantime, we have elbow here, elbow here. Her arms need to be thinner than that. She's got little stick thin arms. And then her sleeve is about here. And then, okay, goodness me, this is the hard part. There's just all the rest of it. She's so skinny, but this pose doesn't read that way. And I want to make sure it feels right. Okay, that's a bit closer. And then that means I kind of want the elbow and everything to be more tucked in. So if her elbow goes down to here, and that her other shoulder is up here, it's all gonna change anyways because of the sleeve being super puffy. But, you know, actually, you know what? Whoa. This has to be shorter and it's going back in on itself. Like that, because her phone needs to be level with her ear. That's got to be the priority. So this almost needs to be sticking out more. Ugh, crud. This is so hard. Yeah, this is some serious forced perspective, I think, that's happening right now. Because, like, her foot, she's like this sort of angle. Well, actually, no, wait, that means her elbow has to come down further. And she still needs to be facing more so that way. Which means her elbow is out here. Gosh, this is a mess. I don't know what I'm doing, can you tell? Yeah. Maybe I can just cover all of my confusion with a hand. I say that the hand is just as confusing. That'll have to do. Something like that. Again, I will tweak it in, what's it called? Tweak it in the other sketch stages. I guess her phone can just stick out enough that it covers all of that hand too. Yeah, that's fine. That works and doesn't feel like too much of a cheat, actually. And then we have her, she's got very, like, what's it called? Her cardigan is like right on the edge of her shoulders, so it's a very shallow V shape that gets created. In terms of which side the buttons are, they're like this side, like that. Her chest exists just about, and then her knee is like here. What angle is everything? I don't know. Again, maybe we can use the skirt to cover up some of my confusion. Don't you just love it when you can hide things? It's like, did you ever draw cows or horses or sheep when you were little? And like you would hide their feet by putting it in grass. Or if you drew hands, you'd have the characters with their hands behind their backs so that you didn't have to, what's it called, draw the hands. Hank asks, what does Globosphere mean on your website? And if it's okay asking, what is the password for? So Globosphere is a TV show I want to make someday, and that is a private site where only a couple people have access to it. So I mostly send that out to recruiters, a couple friends, mostly to protect my intellectual property. And also because I don't feel very ready yet to share my show idea. I don't think it's fleshed out enough. Once I feel like it is a little more fleshed out and I actually have more to show, then it'll still be password protected, but I think I will make it that you can find the password. You know, with, like, for example, patrons will definitely get access to it. Some already do have access to it, depending on various factors, but for the most part, it's like a protection of my work, so that it doesn't just like head out into the open too much. Yeah. But yes, Stuck in the Globosphere is my show idea. And my characters, Nico and Janie, who if you stuck around my channel, you will recognize their names. They are the main characters for that. Hi, Stinko. Are you licking my knee? Ew. You're a weirdo, puppy. Yes, you are. So that shoe is something like this. And then the other knee is something like this. Oh, Connor asks, how do you practice keeping proportions consistent in animation? So this is something I've touched on a couple times in my previous streams from this week, especially my facial expression streams. It's a lot about breaking it down into very basic solid forms, like a sphere or a cube or a combination of the two. Is my knee really tasty? What is up, Stinko? What's up? And so, because a lot of the mistakes proportionally can happen right at the baseline of, you know, the shape of the head and stuff like that. And so if you are able to get rid of that being a problem, then it's more easy for you to correctly place the more detailed parts of the proportions, whether it be like the facial expression or like the hands and stuff like that. It's just easier. Another useful thing is if you're doing a drawing, like let's say a turnaround, I always reference my turnarounds because these I have as the most consistent drawings of each character. And I'm not going to get into how to do an animated turnaround. You can look up BAM Animation did a really great tutorial. So if you want, you can look them up online on YouTube. But yes, so this is consistent, and then what I did for this is I broke down into very simple forms the key aspects of the proportions of these characters. And so yes, I am consistently referencing this for my poses. So I've not necessarily been saying it out loud, but like I've been comparing the size of the top half of the leg here to the bottom half of the leg here, but also taking into account maybe a perspective or foreshortening, or maybe tweaking the proportions, like faking them a little to make the pose read more clearly, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a perfect science, but I hope that answers your question, Connor. Dun, 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 dun. Something like that. Her gigantic shoes are such a pain to draw. I love gigantic shoes though. Would never change them for the world. Actually, I kind of almost want to tilt them even more. Is that going to ruin the flow of her leg though? Whoops. Yeah, it's gonna kind of mess it up. Maybe I could tilt this one. Yeah, actually this one being tilted is more sensible, methinks. Something like that. It's probably hard for you to see what's going on down here because I have made such a mess, but I can see what's going on, so yeah. Why haven't you enjoyed making commissions in the past? I'm just getting into selling my work and want to hear your take on it. Because I have really bad task initiation abilities, like really bad, which is part of why streaming has been very helpful lately and why I'm doing it so consistently, is if I am not being forced to do something, then I really struggle. And even if I am being forced to do something, oh my goodness, I can barely work, like barely. Which is often why my homework is never very good when I'm submitting for school. It's why projects often get abandoned by me because I get bored by the time, like, you know, because it takes me so long to do anything, it ends up taking longer than it needs to in general, and I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore at all. So yeah, how would I describe it? And then on top of that, it's like commissions. I'll have all of ideas, all of these awesome things I want to do for myself, for my own projects, but I'm stuck working on something that I don't enjoy, and if I'm not in the mood to draw, then something doesn't feel right consistently, but I want to make sure that I'm giving as good of a product as possible to the client. And so I really hate the idea of submitting something that I don't think is representative of my ability. It's just hard. I don't like commissions. Some people love them. Some people, I think it works really well for them, and that makes me very happy, but I'm just not one of those people. So it's not even necessarily a selfishness thing. It definitely is in part, but it also is just that I don't think I can produce the right level of quality of work at a rate that feels productive to me and feels emotionally like gratifying. Yeah. But yeah, power to people who can do commissions, seriously. And I think that it's a very viable way to make some decent money. It can be tricky for sure, and you have to have kind of a following to get going, and you often end up getting stuck drawing like couples and someone's kids and stuff like that, and that's not what I'm in the animation world for. How do you get yourself to do the work? Well, the truth is I don't, for the most part. I abandon a lot of the stuff I do. You guys, you don't know how many YouTube videos I've started and almost finished that just will never see the light of day. Actually, I say that I might just end up doing some very lazy editing just to make them somewhat passable and then put them on my Patreon so that they exist in some shape or form out there. But forcing myself to be accountable is really important to getting something done if I really have to. Like this film, I care about it a lot, I really believe in it. So even though I struggle to, feel productive, at the very least, I've got you guys on stream holding me accountable. I can't just sit here and do nothing, right? I told you what I'm doing, it's in the title that I'm doing character design live, so I've got to do character design live. You can have friends helping you out, like actual physically in person people checking in on you, or a couple of us this summer we have a Discord server where people are, what's it called? Like we write down our daily, weekly, and summer goals, and then every Monday we call to see how people are doing and so forth. So yeah, I really suggest making it a team project almost, if that makes any sense. Well, okay, anyway, in other news, I think I'm done with this pose. I've been done for a while. Finally, I can flip the canvas and see if this is passable at all. And it is! I mean, the eyes are wonky, so let me fix that, but that's kind of what I was expecting. I'm honestly surprised that they're as even as they are. I thought they were going to be 10 times worse. And then I moved the chin back, but I need to move it back even more actually. to like here. But then this is too intense now. Something like that. Again, I'll fix that when I'm cleaning it up. Let's see. Fika Monster says, I used my tablet for the first time in forever and it felt janky. I'm so unused to it, lol, but the egg dog is done. I'm very excited to see the egg dogs that have been produced in the Discord server after this stream. So yeah. Please tell us about your art skincare. If you want to find out more about the context of skincare, I made it for my how to make a portfolio website video, which is around 2 years old. Let me link that video or something. youtube.com. Everything is so slow. Pity how to make website. Oh, there it is. Oh gosh, what is happening? My thing is all jankied up. Why won't it let me share? Hang on. It's gonna play audio suddenly very loudly or something, maybe. Oh goodness gracious. There you go. Hopefully that wasn't too annoying. Yeah, when I stream, every button online takes like a full 2 seconds to do anything if I'm lucky. So, enjoy that. Hang on, I'm just gonna timestamp it for you. How about that? Anything can be a website, contact form. Okay. Gonna share, gonna have it start at 447 seconds. Where are you guys? Where is my stream? Here you go. There's the context of skincare. That's about as much a context as you'll ever get, because there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a silly goof. Let's see. I completely understand that. I definitely agree, especially from the standpoint of really wanting to dive into your own projects and creative work. Globosphere in your case. In my case right now, it's actually 2 other projects. It's FiREWORKS, and then this other thing that is 2 under wraps to discuss. But I really want it to happen at some point. I don't know when that point is though, unfortunately. So I just have to hold on to it and hope that it's not going to be too late. It feels like a very time-sensitive project, so yeah. Globosphere has been a little bit on the back burner for the last year or so, but it happens. I really want to do more. I definitely have to find more ways to get myself started. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I need that too. I'm hoping that being a teaching assistant this coming school year, that I will be forced to be in a classroom for 3 hours where I can't just do whatever I want. And I think that means that I can work on my art and then, you know, help out with the class when I need, rather than being just in my apartment by myself, prone to napping and so forth. So it's often like placing yourself physically in an environment where work is encouraged, kind of deal. Wait, another stream art prompt, or are they doing an egg dog just in case? Yeah, or just cause. Yeah, we're doing egg dog today. Cheese fairy was yesterday, but you are welcome to do whatever your heart desires. These are just prompts if you can't think of what else you want to work on. So, yeah, you can do both. There's also that as an option. I just realized this leg is like bending the wrong way. But now it's not correct in its own right. I'm gonna smoosh it over here. I'm gonna bring that leg in so that it's skinnier. Okay, that's close enough. I do want to redraw this mouth actually. Mama, ma. That mouth is actually wide because it's an ass sound. Like that. More so, anyway. Something along those lines. And then need to... Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about the puffy sleeves. I keep forgetting about the puffy sleeves. They make my life so much easier sometimes, and they make it so much harder other times, and there seems to be no in between. Maybe something like this, and then... Gosh, what a pain in the butt these things are. Well, it's good practice because I love puffy sleeves like this so much that I definitely want them to be incorporated into multiple of my character designs for like Globosphere and so forth. So yeah. Okay, that'll do. It'll have to do because I'm too lazy. I think the butt is a little bit too low. What's it called? Yeah, because of the angle of the rest of this pose. Something like that would be better. Yeah, that's good enough. Now we can investigate all the other drawings and see how they look from their angles now that we're flipped. This one looks good. I want to make one change though, and that is I want to extend her... What the heck? Extend her palm to be like that. I also need to make it her whole hand bigger actually, because like if we compare it to the size of this hand, right, this hand needs to be significantly larger, like this. Okay, that's decent, that's passable. Alright, then we got this pose. I think this one works nicely. It's almost... I almost want to stretch it up like that. Very subtle, but I think that should work. I almost also want to rotate it just a touch like that. This one, oh yeah, I did some bendiness, so she's got weird swoopy legs. But we can fix it in the next set of sketching. And then we've got this one, which is a weird poopy brown color. I'm gonna just tweak that, literally for the sake of uniformity. This one seems okay. We've got a lot of stuff going on, so yeah, I think that this works. This one I'm going to add skirt detail though, because otherwise it looks like she's just wearing underwear. Something along these lines should be good. Cool, now she's wearing a dress. That's better. Alright. Aiden asks, do you find more interest in creating stories in the mundane, like our world, personal stories, or more fantastical worlds with an imaginary world and problems? I like pairing the two, the first and third option together. So that is, I think in my website bio I say, I like making the ordinary extraordinary, where it's observing ordinary life, small life moments, but either placing them in a surreal setting or putting a general surreal spin on, on the mundane. So for example, my film The Flood, which is not publicly released, patrons are able to view it, but it's currently doing the film festival circuit, so it's not going to be on my YouTube until it's done with that. But it's a project I worked on with the BBC, and it's based on a poem I wrote. And the poem was about an old man who notices a dripping from his ceiling, and it's like leaking. That's a thing that can happen that's very ordinary, and he chooses to ignore the problem. But then the whole house starts to flood, and his whole house ends up being underwater. Now that is not normal. That's a very surreal twist. So that type of storytelling is very much what I want to go for. Also, that's kind of, I guess, a spoiler, but not really, because it's one of those predictable stories. I like predictable until it's not, if that makes sense. Anyway, yes. So Tituan says, hi, I'm new to this channel. I really want to say that your content is very useful for people like me who want to learn character design. Thanks a lot for sharing your skills. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. I hope that this is of use to you, for sure. I hope it's of use to me too. We shall see. We shall see how much I can use this stuff later on. Then Cadence is saying, how can I make my character expressions less illustration-like? I really just want them doing silly things to explore their dynamic with each other more, lol. That's a tricky one, I feel you on that. I think it's very much about limiting how much detail you put in. If you can just get in, like, I deleted it now, but let's see. Like if I have Maya and Eddie now, right, I can be super duper loose where he's like holding her and she's like squishing his cheeks and he's like reaching and I don't know, like hugging her. I don't know, and she's like got a leg up and is all whatever, and he's like, whoa. I don't know what I just drew. I don't know if you can even see it on the stream. It's like really faint. There you go. Like that, I just drew that super fast. I've got an interaction going, and that's because I didn't care about proportions. I didn't care about the facial expressions. I didn't care about like the composition or anything. I just got the vague idea down. And then, you know, the second time around, then I can like clear it up a little more and make sure the proportions make a little bit more sense, and you know, that it actually feels like the characters and so forth. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm still drawing this, because this is not how my characters look. But yeah, I think that might be something. Let's see. How do you deal with art and connecting it to your self-worth? Like comparing yourself to other artists appears too harshly and feeling like your values are personalizing your art. By quitting Instagram. I was comparing myself to other people way too much when I was on Instagram, and it felt so annoying because I kept seeing the work of hundreds of people and then convincing myself that I could do all of that too, but because I'm one person, I end up never doing as much as all these other people. And so what the heck? So I inherently felt inadequate because, oh no, Anya's not doing the work of 100 people? What? So it's definitely about removing that from other people. It's also, I think, a lot about surrounding yourself with artists and focusing on the bigger picture of like, what can you guys make together? What are your wider goals creatively? Are you going to be able to achieve them with your current skills? Is that something you need to personally focus on? If it's something that you can achieve by getting others to do it for you, then are you still achieving those goals? Yes. You know, you're just directing someone. So I think it's a lot about figuring out what you want to do on a larger scale rather than what in each individual piece is supposed to be and how many likes it gets and so forth. Yeah. Alright, so I think I'm done with Maya sketches for now. I think now it is time to move on to Eddie sketches. I say that, it's 1:46, so we're a little behind schedule because I've been talking a lot and I am being slow. But I do want to get some Eddie in them. Maybe. I've gotten used to drawing Maya though. Sorry, I just wrote that. Eddie. These are the only two named characters in my film, by the way. Everyone else is just called mother, father, kid, old man, old woman, but yeah. So, goodness gracious. I'm gonna have to warm up all over again because now it's a whole new character. But that's okay, I guess. maybe I'll only do like 2 sketches of him today, we shall see. And then tomorrow we'll finally clean things up. I don't think I'm doing a full clean, no, actually I guess I can do a full clean illustrations for each of these poses, because there's going to be so many poses in total in this film that these are going to be my core reference points, I believe. Magical realism, I love that genre. Yes, magical realism, that's exactly it. I totally forgot what the word was. That is the genre that I love the most. But magic, I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's more so science fiction. That's the direction I like. As in, you know, a surreal world where things don't quite make sense, but there is some scientific explanation to it. Like, there is a perceived science in this world that I create. Yeah. Does CalArts visit Ottawa in September? Is that a film festival? I mean, the whole school? Definitely not. Maybe some people will submit things and go and attend, but I don't know about CalArts as a whole at all. So, yeah. I mean, I've never heard of anyone heading over there recently. Now that I think about it, I have an idea for an egg dog, but I can't draw animals well. Oh, tell me about it. I am not a four-legged creature drawer or just general animal drawer. I need to get better at that. I'm procrastinating my improvement. But yeah, you can do your own version of a dog, or maybe it can be a dog-themed egg. You know, there's also that. Okay, let's add a photo. So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, the outfits where I'm wearing this like orangey red dress and green cardigan are my Maya poses, and then all of my brown outfits are Eddie poses. Ottawa International. Okay, right, gotcha. Yeah. I'm sure people from CalArts do visit, but I don't think we as a class ever do. We've never gone very far. I mean, we're a pretty big class. There's like almost 200 of us, I think, in the school year. We're the biggest program at CalArts for sure. Let's see, what are we going to start with today? I kind of want to start with an easy one. So let's have me cringily pretending to drive on my sofa. How about that? Yeah! Okay, that's not the selection tool I wanted. Okay, not gonna lie, I feel like I'm falling asleep. I had not very much sleep as usual. Can you see this is a running theme? Yes, Anya, I know I need to take care of myself better, but I might have to end this stream a bit earlier than usual, because boy, I'm fading. What the? I got so confused, I couldn't do basic math just then, and I was convinced that I had 6 fingers. Like because I've been drawing 4 fingers much more on these characters, looking at someone with 5 fingers just now broke me. Like, what is this? I don't know what's going on. I love how people have different directions they go for stories. Mine is based around couples and then creating the world around them. I think it makes more sense to to start with character relationships and then the world around them, because character relationships are more important for the longevity of a story than world building. That's just a fact. So, you know, you can have fascinating world building, but very, very rarely is that going to outweigh the importance of the relationships. Literally the only thing I can think about where I care more about the world building than anything else is Flesh Pit National Park. Have you heard of that? Wendigoon on YouTube has done a very good summary of everything to do with it, but it is, I believe, like a Tumblr website where an artist has created a bunch of material about this fictional this fictional national park that used to exist until, I believe, July 4th, 2007, where it's like a giant flesh pit in the middle of Texas or something like that. It's a very, very cool concept. I'm in love with it. Highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, that is the only thing I can think of where world building outweighs characters, for sure. Anyway, okay, so Eddie, my man. I actually have a face that I really, really like for this one, so I'm going to steal it. I'm gonna copy all. Gonna move over. And I'm gonna paste. Wow, that was the fastest that I was able to move out into the gallery and back into another document. Usually that happens so slowly. Alright, I keep inserting layers into my 0, 1, so I keep having to make a new layer called 0, 1. That's annoying. So I'm gonna try a different angle. Raise this way, like that. Your nose is still gonna be timed down, buddy. Kinda like that. Something along those lines, yes, yes. I don't know. I mean, I should know, this is my own drawing, but I don't know. Up here. Let's see, how does that look? Whoops. That's something vaguely functional. I'll take it. Like this, and then his hair is like flowing. His nose is a bit longer than that. Kind of like this. Let's see. That park is just a character out of itself. Yeah, that is a very fair point, actually. I think very rarely is the environment itself the character, so I guess that's why it works in its case. What do we have here? We have Привет, удачную дня. Hey, yeah. Russian. I maybe read that correctly. Who knows? Also, ow, I went to the gym yesterday. My pecs hurt when I like stretch up. Oh, it feels kind of good though. Sorry, puppy, I just woke him up. Did I spook you? Did I spook you by going rah? Also, I haven't eaten yet today, and it is almost 2 p.m, so I should probably do that soon. Oh hey, I have a new Patreon supporter. I'm assuming it's someone who either is in the stream or was in the stream earlier. Thank you so much. That's really cool. Thank you. I'm definitely gonna send over permissions and things as soon as I'm done with the stream. Or as soon as you apply, actually. Yes, just like a random information. If you join my Patreon, you get access to a Google Drive folder if you're a $4 or $10 tier supporter. They're two separate, well, they're like Russian nesting dolls or Matryoshka folders, where if you're a $10 patron, you get access to the $4 folder because it's inside the $10 one, if that makes sense. But anyway, just to make everything manageable for me, you have to request permission to have access, and that's just so I know what email each patron is associated with, and yeah, so that you get given the link, you request access, then within 24 hours I will grant you access, and then you have the ability to see all the stuff that's in those folders. And I'm hoping to keep building and adding more and more and more. In fact, one of my plans is to record the time lapses of the drawings I've done on these streams and make like a 5-minute condensed version of my thought process for these. Anyway, hang on, my nose is really itchy. Allow me to itch. I swear I'm not picking my nose. Okay, thank you. So, back to Eddie. Let's see, he also has a very short torso, and he is, I'm thinking his neck is wrong. I've spotted it. It's at his head. What the? Are you seeing this? It's like freaking out. Dude, my Procreate has been going a little bit haywire lately. I think something like that-ish. And then I'm going to rotate it back a little bit so that the neck is straighter. Oh wait, no, I did it wrong. I did it too intensely. I did it the wrong way around. Something like that, and then okay. Cool, that should be good. And then I kind of actually do want his back to slope in. It doesn't quite, it like bumps a little more here, and then it goes in a lot. So him sitting is a little bit like this. That looks kind of unnatural in terms of the neck versus what's the word? The neck versus hip placement. So I'm just gonna adjust that in my own way, maybe breaking his own proportions a little, but it's okay. It's all in the name of a decent pose. And then his hip is quite short, and then his legs are super duper long and super duper skinny. So his legs, they don't sit flatly. Did you just hear my hip? They don't sit flatly on the floor. I don't know if you can see me. Like that. They actually come up a little bit because his foreleg is so long. Also, yes, I'm wearing a matching two-piece newsprint themed thing, which I've had for years at this point, and I love it very much. And it looks like newsprint is now becoming like a trendy pattern, and it's like, well, I'm glad that other people figured it out eventually. Okay. So we have two legs. Actually, let's have this leg turned out ever so slightly. Kind of like that, I guess. I don't know. And then we have rather short forearms. Maybe not quite that short, more like this. Let's tilt this down a touch. Like that, and then something like that. Actually, yeah, that. And then his, I don't think I posed correctly in my photo in terms of convincingly holding a steering wheel, but that's okay, we can improvise. Something like that, and then the thumb is like wrapped around, and the thumbnail is like this. The thumbnail? The thumb. Something like that, I guess. This is almost like he's leaning too far back actually now. I'm just gonna bring this a touch forward. Gosh, this is so tricky just to get like the tiny nuances of a pose like cleanly in there. Ugh, goodness gracious. Character designing is actually so fun. I think I've been intimidated by it all this time. It really is fun, and there's so many types of characters out there in terms of like, oh, how do I describe it? Like how seriously you take a design. Is it super well considered and well researched, or is it just some like goofy shapey thing, or is it like based on an existing image or an existing character? So many kinds of character design, for sure. Alright, so just to observe Eddie, the top half of his leg is maybe it's like, it's the full forearm and then half of the top half of the arm-ish, I would say, in length. So, full forearm, and then about half. So I think we need to stick these out more in this current state, like that. And then, let's see. How does one look when they drive? I don't know, I don't drive yet. I'll get to it at some point though, I promise. Both myself, I promise, and my family, I promise, and the people who ferry me around, I promise, and my wallet when it comes to spending money on Uber, I promise that I will learn to drive soon. Oh, my viewers just suddenly dipped, that was interesting. I guess I'm doing boring stuff. It sounded way too passive-aggressive. I swear I didn't mean to. You actually made an art piece for your exam based off a newspaper. Oh, that's cool. That sounds really fun. Let's see. And this tall-ass man also has heels. So he's extra tall. Maybe something like that. I don't know. And then where do his boots go? They kind of are like here. Which means he has like a sticky outy thing here and here. And then I'll just figure out what happens in that with that behind leg later, because I'm too lazy. Whoa. Don't mind me nearly falling off of my chair. In terms of the steering wheel, I'm just gonna loosely scrub that in. Because yes, he's in a car. Driving it, to be precise. And then I want to figure out what his hair is doing. So the part closest to us is, see, his parting on his head. The part closest to us is the shorter part. And he's driving in the wind, so I would like it to look like that. Kind of like this, maybe. And then the other part is also very present, methinks. And then I'm going to kind of hide some of this because I'm going to add all the other hair that is available, which goes down to just past his shoulder. So it would be like around this long, because now the top of his head is so far down. But again, we are moving fast in the wind, so his hair is about this long. Cool, thank you, Anya, with that very basic technique of whatever that was. I have not figured out how I'm going to animate his flowy hair just yet, but we will figure it out for sure. Actually, I'm just going to try something else with this hair here. I haven't debated, and you know what, I think I am going to keep both Maya and Eddie, both the hair is going to be like one solid item that jiggles about, just because it better suits the design style. So yeah. Kubus has said, hello, just lurking, but hope you're going to have a great stream. Thank you so much. I think it's been going pretty well. We're probably going to wrap up reasonably soon. In fact, I actually might wrap after this drawing. Wrap up, because I need to eat, I need to nap, and I need to What else do I need to do? I need to do a lot of things today. That seems pretty decent to me. Again, I did not figure out what's going on with his other shoe. Let's try that now, actually. Maybe that. I don't know. I mean, I should know he's my design. And then I'm just gonna polish off his eyebrow being there. I'm gonna give him some teeth. And a tongue. And a chin. Okay. Why does his ear suddenly look so tiny? Something like that. Okay. And then the final thing I need to do for him is give him his big old sleeves, because both Maya and Eddie have redonkulous sleeves. He, on top of the puffy side of things, has shoulder pads, which are actually really fun and I think make my job easier, because it kind of like hides a lot of the confusion of how shoulders overlap with like the neck and the collarbone-y area, if that makes any sense. Okay. Maybe I think I should start the sleeve like further down like that. And then, do I want his collar to be flapping about? Nah. How high up do his shoulder pads go? They don't quite, they do go higher up than they currently are drawn. Like this, like this. Yeah, that works. And then his actual jacket also. Hang on, let's make it a bit higher so it doesn't tangent with his leg. Something like that. And then his top is here. And then his little butt and his trousers are there. Okay, that works, I think. Let's flip the canvas real quick for this one. I can hide this now, I don't need this anymore. He looks so goofy! In terms of t-shirts being cheesy, yeah, I definitely would love to have t-shirts at some point as merch, but let me rephrase. I think t-shirts are a very easy cop-out for a lot of creators, where they have some very uninspired design. Oh, good night, Fika Monster, thank you so much for tagging along. What is it? Yeah, I would, if I was to make a t-shirt, I would want it to be like an actually interesting design, one, and two, a design that isn't just like Mepity. I would want it to be the type of design that anyone could see it. They don't have to have any clue who I am, but they'd be like, that's a cool t-shirt, I want it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the plan for that. I'm gonna do some quick twiddling about with these leggies. I don't know why they ended up swooping back so much like that. That was not the plan. How about that? There we go. I think that works. There's an Eddie pose. He looks so, they both look so funny when they're sitting down because of their torsos being so short. That's actually really funny. In fact, his torso needs to be even shorter. I guess I'm gonna have to move the neck down. That'll be my solution to shortening the torso. And then just an ever so slight raise up here. Just the tiniest amount so we don't lose that negative space though, like that. Eddie, you look silly. You look like a funny goof. You silly Billy. Like that, how about that? I think that's that, yeah. Do I keep going? I'm debating. I don't know. I think maybe I should just kind of call it a day here. Methinks. I've been going for 3 hours, so I think that's pretty decent, you know? Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up, but before we do that, I do want to just put all my sketches out in one place together so that you can so that you can all enjoy it laid out. So what I'm going to do real quick is just duplicate my Myers sketches thing, because I think inevitably I'm going to have to shrink all of these down so that everything can fit on the page. So let's make it uniform, let's shrink it. Let's throw Eddie in here. Let's hide this Eddie. This is just a sketch sheet, I guess. Just renaming this. This is just very temporary. Do you have any characters named Billy? Not as far as I'm aware. I'm curious if there's a reason you mentioned that. Is there something you've seen? Or have I named a character Billy that I've totally forgotten about? I don't know. Now I'm kind of curious. Put her here. Put her here. Actually, wait, no, she'll fit better. No, she won't. Never mind. I think that I've done a pretty decent job today in terms of, like, I think these characters ended up looking like, well, the characters for once. I don't know if I'm necessarily very good at that. I think it's a skill that I'm still trying to work on. So this is pretty cool. I think this one's is the wonkiest of all the drawings, and she's the first one I did technically. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Look at all these Myers. Eddie and Billy are characters, like Stranger Things. Oh, I said silly Billy. That's no. Someone asked if I have artists that I look up to. I mean, mostly my classmates. Like, the work that they put out is phenomenal in every type of way. So yeah, if you find people that go to CalArts, they're probably an inspiration of mine to a degree. But I think you're asking a different question, which is like, like in terms of inspirations, it's like Jamie Hewlett, gorillas in general, Gravity Falls, so Alex Hirsch, a lot of the cartoons of that kind of era, like the early 2010s stuff, creeping into the later 2010s. Less so these days. They would like definitely what gave me my start, though, if that makes sense. But nowadays I'm more so focused on, like, I have a lot of websites that I have saved in my, like, on my Google Chrome. Like, I have a folder of artist portfolios that I really enjoy. The first one that comes to mind is Jackie Druco, if you know. I think she's pretty big on Instagram. I have no idea. I know her from her website. But yeah, there's just so many phenomenal artists out there, and I don't even know what they do or where they're from or what they're working on. But I found their websites and I'm hooked on the stuff they do. Another person I really love is Tursin Solu. Is that it? I don't know. As for Stranger Things, by the way, talking about that, I haven't watched since season 2. I don't know if I plan to. I saw people were talking about, is it Eddie Munson being a character? and in like this season, and he's got like curly hair and is all handsome and everything. And then there was Billy last season or something, also having like, what's it called? Being very 80s with the mullet, but I love mullets, so I thought that was very handsome. I don't know anything about these characters at all. I'm assuming they're bad guys, because of course they're gonna be bad boys. But yeah, none of my decision making is based on anything to do with Stranger Things. I kind of really don't vibe with the actor of the main character, for reasons I won't get into, but personal deal, and so it kind of makes it hard for me to watch the show a little bit, not really. It's just also like I don't care that much. I enjoyed it at the time when I did watch it, but I don't feel the desperate need to watch the rest. I kind of liked the arc of season 1, and that was me happy and sorted. I don't even remember what happens in season 2. Actually, you know what? I don't even remember what happens in season 1. But like government conspiracy stuff, I do enjoy that kind of thing a lot. So I'm a bit surprised that is my opinion of Stranger Things. And I very much like the 80s. I feel like if I was born in any other decade, if I was like growing up in any particular decade, I would have done really well in the 80s. Like my fashion kind of lines up with it a lot, always has done. My taste in like aesthetics is pretty lined up there. Politically, I'd have had a very bad time, seeing as I'm half Russian, half American. And so with all the Red Scare situation going on, oh boy, I would be hated wherever I go. But I guess I wouldn't really even exist very much. The likelihood anyway. Well, actually no, that's a lie. Both my parents existed during that time. And were like whole ass adults, so yeah. The 80s, what a time. You know what, that's a question for those of you who are still sticking around. If you could have grown up and been like a teenager in any decade, what would it be? I say decade, if we're going seriously far back in time, you can just simplify it to a century or even a millennia. But yeah, when would you want to be from? Or are you happy with where you are from now? Because the truth of the matter is, I want to be from now. You know, I'm very glad that I've been growing up in the time that I have, in terms of the technology available to me and the rights that I have. Although that seems to be slipping through my fingers in the United States. Yikes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the 2020s, 2010s and so forth. Aside from all the terrible parts, but there's terrible parts to every decade, huh? I'm almost there. I'm literally just coloring this in so that you guys can see it better and so we can just kind of have a moment to focus on silhouettes just before we wrap up. 90s all day, the fashion, music, art of this world, politically and socially, however, this decade, 100%. Yes, for sure. For sure. Okay, let's just move this out of sketch for a second. So here is the silhouettes. Let me just duplicate it to make it a bit darker. So with this, hang on, let me get a different brush real quick. Oh, I've reached my layer limit. Oh no. Okay, so this one is hard to read, but I'm okay with it because it's a close-up. It's not really a full body pose. It's you know, and there's wind, so that it's impacting the silhouette of the hair and the sleeves. So don't worry about that. This one I think is pretty solid. We have the arm sticking out and the hand here, and then the hair is creating a silhouette here, and then her legs are here. There's like a curve that is very defined within the silhouette. This one is the clearest of them all. You know, you can literally see the details of his jacket and his pose and the sleeve and the arms, and you can even see his facial expression. So that's great. This one, you have the silhouette. You can feel the direction she's facing You can feel the flow being very curved, and the hands, so the focus here, detail-wise, is at the right place. And then this one is a little harder to tell what's going on, like emotionally, but we do have this like carving into yourself feel in the center. We have this line of action, and the feet are very readable and kind of awkward and small. Puppy's like wagging his tail and it's hitting against the sofa. That's really cute, but it's making a lot of noise. And then this one is also very clear. I kind of messed up coloring in her face, so it looks really broken, but there's a tiny bit of a mess between like where her hand is and where her profile is that I might need to clear up for this pose in the actual film, but I'm not so concerned about it right now. But the energy, the flow is pretty decent. So yeah, that is the conclusion for today's stream. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I will definitely be back, most likely tomorrow, to be finishing off some more Eddie poses and then cleaning up what we have today. And that'll be, I think, us done with poses for at least a little while. I might take a break from streaming after that because I do want to focus on getting like a regular YouTube video done. It's been sitting around for a month. I plan to finish editing 3 YouTube videos whilst I'm not at my apartment, and I didn't do that. I've been streaming instead. So yeah, anyway, let's see. Let's talk about... I was born in the late 80s and I'm pretty happy being a 90s kid, but I think it would have been so fun as an 80s teen. Yeah. I'm happy with the time period I was born in because being gay in older times would be worse than now, lol. Yeah, that's definitely like a big consideration to have, right? I wonder if people would have different opinions if things like the political climate and social climate would be totally different, if we're basing things purely off of like music, architecture, fashion, the humor people have, the trends of the time, like animatronics being really big in the 80s and 90s kind of deal, or like TikTok being the thing now. Yeah, if we could exclude all of the problems of decades, where would you end up being? But anyway, I'm gonna just switch over to face cam real quick so we can say a proper goodbye. And boom, transition. Thank you everyone so much for joining, for tagging along. For those of you who have stuck around for the full like 3 hours and 24 minutes, wow, I sincerely appreciate you. Thank you. For those of you who just joined now, I'm sorry you joined late. You're welcome to rewatch, but thank you for stopping by for any amount of time. For those of you who stuck around for 30 seconds and then left again, I love you anyway, you know? Trudy's asking a question. You're welcome to ask a question and then I will probably get going. But yes, ask away. I'll wait for that comment to come in. Let's see, it's been fun, can't wait for the next stream. Thank you so much as usual, Anya, absolutely love your content. Have a good day and a good meal. Well, yes, I'm so hungry, I'm very excited to eat and then nap. Thank you all. Thank you. And I hope you have found this somewhat useful. If you have any questions, don't forget that you can talk to me on Discord, you can email me. Why not also stop by my website, pt2.com. You can also check in the description for the Discord server for all of my other links, including my Patreon. I have a bunch of exclusive content on there, which includes all of the behind the scenes stuff for FiREWORKS. So finished products that are going on the stream will be available there shortly anyways. Once this page is done, this page is not done. So yeah. Can I show the silhouettes I made in the Discord? Of course, you're welcome to share whatever you'd like. Go for it. In the Discord, we have a bunch of channels there. We have a regular art one, we have the stream art one, which I'll be checking out after this stream. So yeah, do feel free to share, and I'm sure that everyone else in the stream would also like to see. I'd love to see what everyone has been working on during the stream in general. I'm just waiting in for Trudy's question to stop by, and once that is there, I will answer, and then I will finish things up. Okay, your question is, what do? I have art block. Well, today's drawing prompt was egg dog, so if you want to draw something along that theme, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, art block is hard, and I think the main thing is to not force yourself to draw, because sometimes it means that you are needing to focus on something else, and that other focus could be totally outside of art. It could be, rather than doing the drawing, you're looking at other people's drawings, and that you are like building up a list of inspiration. And when that happens, I highly recommend you write it down. I have like a document on my notes app of all the different ideas that I have, and sometimes I revisit these like 2-3 years later and I'm re-inspired to work on things. If it's the actual drawing side that's hard to get started on, that is where I struggle a lot too. But I do suggest you do studies. It could either be like an anatomy study or a lighting study, or copying the pose that some other artist has done but with your own character, or it could be tracing and breaking down other artists' work to kind of reverse engineer it, you know, where you're not creating your own thing from scratch, but you are studying, and that can make you feel a little more confident about the work that you're doing. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, evening, wherever you are. And I'm probably going to see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. PST, same as today. And yeah, so I'll see you then. Okay, bye!